do it on this kind of a blasé, black kind of day, but we haven't had one of these in a while. We haven't had a day like this in a long time where it's just a rainy, nasty, raw kind of day where it's just a consistent, steady rain. And this is one of those days where if you're out driving a truck and making deliveries, you just get in and get out as quick as you can. You know, if it's a day where you're sitting at home, you're Zoom calling, and you probably got your fuzzy jammies on the bottom and your dress shoe or a dress suit or something on the top, and just kind of taking it easy with a big warm mug of something. And if you're us, we're just hanging out today, hanging out, having fun. That's it. By the way, last night, fantastic. What a fantastic group of people. And I know originally they wanted to sell about 60, 70 tickets. We ended up with 46, I think, total people that were there. And it was perfect. It was perfect. And we had a great time. The food was fantastic. As a matter of fact, I still got pans of this stuff here at the house. We had so much food left over. But it was a great time. The cigar dinner was fantastic. We had a fun time speaking and telling stories. And it was really, really cool. So hopefully the next one of these we throw maybe coming up in March, you get a chance to come out and enjoy it because it really was a fantastic time. 877-867-1670. Hit us up on the phone. And phone line's wide open, by the way, about a lot of questions about OBJ last night. Find us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels. At Bill_Michaels. You can find us on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. And you can also find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. And then you can find us over on Twitch TV. Same thing. And the email is simply thebillmichaels@gmail.com. thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Bucks, big lead last night. And then that lead began to shrink. And then Pat Connaughton just went off late in that ballgame. Pat Connaughton, big night last night. 23 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Good night for him. And the Bucks got to win 112-100. And you know what that means? The Bucks are back to 500. The Bucks are back to 500. So I'm the concern level for those Bucks fans. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with Dario Melendez. Pretty nil once this team gets back to full strength. Just hang around, get yourself into the postseason, get yourself near the top 4 in the postseason, but get to the top 4 in the postseason, and then roll from there. Rick, good morning to you over on the Bud Light live stream. Thanks to Dan, Steve, and Jess as well. Brent says, how are we looking? Getting psyched for a busy sports weekend. Badger hoops, football, Packers football, got it all going on. You got Bucks basketball coming up this weekend as well. Bucks and Celtics coming up in Boston on Friday night. Saturday, the Bucks are off. But then again, on Sunday, you got the Bucks on the road again, facing Atlanta. Bucks on this extended road trip against Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks coming up this Sunday. So you got a lot going on. That's a 5 o'clock game, by the way. 5 o'clock Central Time is when that tips off in Atlanta. So got plenty of sports coming up this weekend. And you're right, Brad, when you talk about it, you got college football kind of reigns supreme, but you got some hoops. You got hoops now every night, which is cool. Every night you can flip on the channel and find something, some kind of competitive thing going on, short of just watching a cornhole tournament. And now you got it all going. Good stuff. Jesse says, OBJ, what the hell are you waiting for? I'll pitch in whatever it is it's going to take to get him here. I believe he's the Andre Rison deal. He is the linchpin to putting this team over the top. I don't know about the linchpin, but he's an accentuation piece. I'll go with that. No problem. 877-867-1670. Tim says he's OBJ's a head case. We've had enough of them in the locker room right now. We don't need another one. And then he's got hashtag Aaron Rodgers. But see, Aaron Rodgers is your leader. And let's be honest, you can say he's a head case, okay, whatever you want to say, but you know you cannot win without him. You know it. Rip the guy all you want, but you know it. You know it. KJ says Odell is going to be a Packer. Book it. A lot of people thinking that today is the day. He makes the decision today. Maybe by the time we get off the air. He'll make his decision. Now, Evan Massey, by the way, featured Forbes.com, ESPN, Yahoo, all that kind of stuff. Evan Massey says, per a source that he has, Aaron Rodgers has indeed reached out to and spoken to Odell Beckham Jr. in an attempt to recruit him to the Packers. Davante Adams said yesterday that he had talked with OBJ as well. Beckham is getting a lot of recruiting calls from around the league. If he got a call from Aaron Rodgers and Davante to say, hey, bro, let's go. Come on. I got to think that he will be on his way. Got to think that he's going to be on his way. Now, Evan Massey does not have the, how shall I say it? Ben, how would you put Evan Massey's reputation?
Not the most.
Yeah. You can pretty much stop with that statement. Not the most. Well, maybe maybe full of. That might be it. So
I'm not saying that's false because Davante did say that he had talked to Odell, but
right.
I don't know. I haven't followed Evan's reports throughout my time as a sports person.
Yeah. So I don't follow him. I just saw that some news outlets are retweeting him. And news outlets that are retweeting him are credible, but they're basing it upon the fact that he's got a blue check mark on his Twitter account. So I don't know what to believe, but I believe by the end of day today, Odell Beckham Jr. will be a blank, whether it's a Packer, a Patriot, a Saint, a Chief, a Seahawk. He will be signed today. They'll get this deal done. If you have any thought at getting this guy into your locker room by Sunday, today will be the day. Now, the other aspect of this is if you don't want to get him into the locker room and you don't have to pay him a game check this weekend, that's one less amount of money you got to pay. So we'll see. This one is from Kim Jones. And by the way, Kim Jones, when it comes to Kim Jones Sports, the NFL Network, WFAN, all that kind of stuff. Now, Kim Jones is saying that indications are that Odell Beckham is going to take some time to decide on his next team and his decision. She says it's a few days away. And Andrew Brandt, who retweeted that, says, well, that means, you know what? No good offers yet. That's what that means. I still think by the end of the day today, if I had to pick a percentage, everybody wanted to know last night, what's the percentage by the end of the day he's going to be signed with the Packers? And I said, I think it's 50-50. We'd have heard something right away had he already had his mind made up. And I didn't think he did. So to me, I'm thinking maybe by the end, if I had to say 75, 80% of me says he'll sign by the end of the day today. If not, I think you get a deal done by Friday. Otherwise, general managers tend to start flying with the teams and such. Now they're still working the phones and done, but that's of a priority begins to approach. So with today or tomorrow is when a deal gets done. He's probably going back and forth trying to get the best deal. But again, if you're the teams we mentioned, there's three teams, that you just flat out can't work with. They don't have the money, and the Packers are one of them. Kansas City really doesn't have the money. Raiders don't have the money. Seahawks got some money. Patriots got money. Saints, they're pressed up against it just like everybody else. So the three teams that are considered to be the, quote, front runners, they don't have a lot of money. So if he's out there weighing all these deals and looking at the most money and long-term and this, well, then he's not going to come to Green Bay. That becomes a pipe dream. 877-867-1670. Ronald says, with OBJ, did he go to the Halloween party? That would tell you whether or not it's Green Bay. No, he didn't go to the Halloween. But the Halloween party was for players only in Green Bay. Yeah, that was, you know, that was well stated. It was just for players on the team. That's it. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Here's the next question, and this might be a better poll question, but there is a divide, I think, among Packers fans. It's like you're doing a deal with the devil. I guess was this the same feeling? I wasn't here when Andre Rison came in back in 96. I didn't get here till 99. But in the 95-96 season, is this the way people felt when they brought in Andre Rison? Like, you know, he's not the most upstanding, got some bad character, you know, locker room cancer. Oh God, we don't need this guy. And now he's heralded. Is this the same kind of deal where you're looking at it, you're going, OBJ, he's not a good guy. He's not this, he's not that. He divides locker rooms. Some people love him, some people hate him. Yeah, you know. Do you feel like you're doing a deal with the devil if you bring in Odell Beckham Jr.? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Do you feel like you're doing a deal with the devil? Or are you just like, you know what? This is about winning. This is about balling out. That's it. This is about getting our guy, Aaron Rodgers, unvaccinated, vaccinated, doesn't mean a damn thing. It's about getting wins. This is about another guy, another weapon, another guy to throw to, another guy to take the pressure off Devontae, to make him better, to make MVS better, to make Aaron Jones better. Just another guy. This is what this is about. Because some people are all in and some people are like, you know, I don't know if we should do this deal. And then there's other people that are like, keep this head case the hell out of Green Bay. Where do you fall in all of that? I feel like I should be putting up a poll question. Maybe I'll do that. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, Bill Michaels Show, and we continue on. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up, do it. A lot of talk about Odell Beckham Jr., whether or not he's going to end up in Green Bay. No word as of yet. And the word is that he's taking his time. I still think that by the end of day today, we will more than likely have him here, or a decision. I shouldn't say have him here. That's erroneous. I think we'll have a decision. And if it's true that he's weighing the offers, then he's not coming here. Yeah, I mean, if there's any modicum of truth to that, then he's not coming here. Kim Jones in the NFL Network says indications are that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to take some time to decide on his next team, and that decision is a few days away. So stay tuned. And Andrew Brandt retweeted that, saying basically he's weighing the offers. If that's the case, he's not coming to Green Bay. Or maybe he looks at all the other offers and says, okay, well, I'll still end up in Green Bay. But if he's looking money-wise, that ain't happening. It's not happening here. Uh, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Boone says, come on in, OBJ, and you can get to one game away from the Super Bowl, LOL. I don't think. Let me ask you this. Why? I get it that the Packers have had failures in NFC Championship games, but short of the Patriots winning everything consistently, who else has been as consistent as the Packers and getting to an NFC Championship game? Who else has been that consistent? 5 of them in the last, 10, 15 years? Not many teams. Tampa Bay got there. They won it. Tom Brady. But we have seen San Francisco come and go. The Rams have come and gone. The Rams are now back. I'll give you that. The Rams are a good football team. But who else has been that consistent? Cowboys haven't been, right? Giants, Eagles, you can go through that whole list. Nobody's been that consistent. You keep knocking on the door's eventually going to fall down. So you can make fun all you want, but what fan are you a team of? And tell me how good your team is. Now, Devontae Adams was asked about OBJ, and this is what he had to say about OBJ.
A couple weeks ago with the Gilmore stuff, you said you've learned not to get your hopes up over that stuff around here. Where is your hope level with the Odell stuff right now?
Yeah, I learned my lesson with that, but they're up pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. Hopes are up, they're pretty high. Been talking to him a little bit, so we'll see what happens. But like I've said previously, I don't expect anything to happen. But if it does, that'd be great.
Don't expect anything to happen. Don't expect it. Okay. Kind of the guys inside the walls at 1265 kind of feel the same way we do, don't they? Hey, that'd be great. It'd be great to get them. Yeah, we've learned over the years that this doesn't happen. Doesn't happen here. Doesn't work that way. Green Bay is not the destination for larger named free agents mid-season to come walking into. It doesn't happen. Now, the difference is if you believe this year is the last dance, then yeah, you push those chips to the middle of the table. You know, it's next season be damned. Right now is what you're worried about. It's in the here and the now. Do you think that they have talked to Aaron Rodgers? If Rodgers has, let's just say the report is correct and Rodgers did reach out to Odell Beckham Jr., do you think that the Packers consulted Aaron Rodgers on this? That's a fair question. Do you think that the Packers consulted him on this? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Because I think if the Packers were going to make this kind of a move, now maybe they're a little bit mad at Aaron Rodgers for kind of flaunting the rules. I don't know. Maybe they didn't consult him. But if Aaron Rodgers feels that there's a deal in the offing, do you think that Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, you know what? Give me a call. I wouldn't mind having him. Do you think that Brian Gutekunst called Aaron and said, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this guy? Maybe here's a little film. Go take a look. You tell me. I don't think it went like that. Personally, I don't think it happened. But who knows? This is from Go Long, our buddy Go Long Ty Dunn, who said that okay, he's not talking about Odell Beckham Jr. coming here. He's talking about he's talking about the same thing, weighing all the options. That he's out there weighing the options. And if he's weighing the options, he's looking for a better deal, not necessarily a better destination. See, that's my thought too, is if he's out there, because the Packers are only going to pay so much. His agent knows it. Other agents or other teams know it. Packers only have so much money. We went through this whole thing yesterday. Kansas City has limited money. The Saints have limited money. There's only a few teams that can afford to pay him that would really be in the hunt. If he wants a lot of money, long-term deal, and the ability to win now. There's only a few of those teams that are available. So if he's, quote, weighing the options as far as a monetary deal goes, Packers are out of this deal. Completely agree with that. Wendell says, what does it mean to have David Bakhtiari back? Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Now, I know that somebody had asked me last night about would David Bakhtiari be on, quote, a pitch count? No, you're either able to go or you're not. Now, if he goes and starts feeling something and says, you know what, this just, no, it's not right, or I'm sore or whatever, they'll pull him out. You don't risk it. But if he's able to go and gets lathered up and feels good, then you let him go. It's you're not on a pitch count for this thing. Maybe you give him a little different therapy, a bit of every time. Everything. There's no. No, he's not on a pitch count. It's huge. It's huge. It pretty much all your pieces are back. Well, except for Josh Myers, obviously. But now you've got your left tackle. Everything begins to fall back into place. Now, it's going to take him a little bit of time. So don't look at it as, oh my God, you can hear Larry McCarron on Sunday say, he got around the left end and, he ended up beating Bakhtiari and got to Aaron, well, and people are going to be like, oh my goodness, he doesn't have his lateral movement back. Oh, it's a woe is me. No, it takes a little while. It may take him a game, 2, 3 to get back to his David Bakhtiari form. He'll get there. You pay attention to it. And if he struggles, you give him help, but he'll get there. He'll get there. I no worries there. No panic out of anybody regarding David Bakhtiari. Tariq says, no way Odell Beckham Jr. ends up in Green Bay. They're not going to offer him any more than the veterans minimum. He's not taking that, and he's got hashtag peanuts. Well, if you want to win, you will. If it's incentive-based, you will. Now, if it's incentive-based, here's the other thing to think about. If you give him a contract and you don't make it say it's how many catches and yards he gets, well, then you're creating a problem because now his money is tied to him getting the football. So if he's not getting the football, you can now begin to hear him complain saying, you're messing with my money. But if it goes with games played, yards after the catch, average, then it's different. Then it's all on him. Now, if he gets hurt or something, he can't help that. But this would be like minor injuries, bumps and bruises, things like that. But if, say, we want you to average 7.3 yards after the catch, 6.2 yards after the catch, whatever. If you want him, that's something he can control. Because instead of running out of bounds, he's lowering his shoulder. Instead of going down, he's churning the legs. He's reaching the ball out. He's trying to do more. He's doing those things that are going to make that offense better. Something like that, I do that. But you got to be careful because if it comes down to catches, total yards, total number of touchdowns, blah, 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 if he's not getting the ball, he can become a problem. We all know that. We've been there, done that. We've seen it. You've heard it. Although I will say his teammates in Cleveland, short of Baker Mayfield and a couple of guys, the majority of guys that talked the other day spoke highly of him. Nobody was ripping this guy. So maybe he isn't the total overall head case everybody's been making him out to be because they have nothing to lose. It's not like he's a teammate anymore. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Carmelo says, I really believe that this is our last year at a true shot at a ring. I'm all in. If not, enjoy because we're done for the next 3 to 5 years. Carmelo, you and I stand in a small circle of people that believe that. I agree with you. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Need to get away this winter? Then it's time to plan one at Pine Mountain Resort, the Upper Peninsula's premier ski resort. Pine Mountain Resort is the #1 rated ski resort in Michigan and Wisconsin. Stay in one of the newly renovated rooms at the lodge and take on the mountain, or just sit by the fire in the bar. The Pine Mountain Ski Jump is the tallest man-made ski jump in North America. Take advantage of their ski and stay packages from 1 to 4 nights, or get a season-long pass available now. Book online today at PineMountainResort.com. That's PineMountainResort.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No.
Glad to have you back. Some bad news coming out of the Badgers football team. Head coach Paul Chryst announced that Ches Malusi done the rest of the season. That's a tough blow. They just finally started cranking up that run game. What's that do to the overall depth of their running back situation, Ben?
Well, it's gotten crushed because starting the year, they had Malusi, they had Jalen Berger, they had Isaac Garento, and they had Braylon Allen. The top three are all either one's off the team, the other are out for the year. So now it's Braylon Allen and then a bunch of guys behind him to check him. And that's really it.
Yeah. Man, tough blow. Tough blow. Badgers back at it again this weekend, but man, tough way to go. So that news just came out of Madison. In the meantime, a lot of people talking about whether or not OBJ can end up in Green Bay. Our pessimistic buddy Gary says, imagine an incentive-based contract for a guy who doesn't know the offense. LOL. It's done all the time, Gary. I don't know why you're giggling. I don't know why you're dripping with sarcasm, but it's done all the time. When guys can't pay them big salaries, so they give them incentives for the remainder of the season. And it's nothing depth-wise. And for a guy that doesn't know the offense, he'll figure out the offense here in the next week or two if he comes in. He'll get it. It happens all the time. That's what you do, because you can't afford to say, hey, we're going to give you $3 million, because your base salary can't be that. But incentives can be reached or not reached, and they're not salary cap based. That's why you do that. Just an FYI. But yeah, you can get reachable goals for certain things. You can get so many passes over so many yards. You can get touchdowns. You can, there's just so many different things that you can give him. But if the one thing that's under his control is, say, yards after the catch average, yeah, you can do that. You can do that. This is from Carmelo, who says, I remember Tampa Bay already had Evans and Godwin. They still brought in Gronk, Brown, and Fournette, took that offense over the top, which is true. You can never have too many weapons. Unless, of course, you've got a lot of head case, you can never have too many weapons. Never. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to Daniel listening to us in Toma. Daniel, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
How you doing, Michael? It kind of reminds me of Andrew Rison when he came here back in 96 when we were short on receivers. And we said we couldn't get him. He came in. He was a trouble person, but he actually put us in the Super Bowl because of his ability of being a receiver. Does that not remind you of what this could be? And not saying it is, well, not. But if they got him here, it'd be in a way. It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it does to a certain extent. I mean, it's still apples to oranges. They had a troubled guy who was coming into a situation where you had Brett Favre, you had Reggie White, you had a very strong GM in Ron Wolf, and you had a very dominating head coach in Mike Holmgren. You don't have that same personality here inside that locker room right now. And if he's that same kind of head case, it's whether or not this locker room is comfortable enough in controlling a guy like that.
Yeah, but I look at it as we have a good enough team. And I don't know what you really think. I thought the defense played really good over the weekend.
Well, I did too. Now, again, though, if this guy's got anything left in the tank, which everybody believes he does, then I believe that, yeah, he can add something. Even if he gets one catch a game, but that catch gives you a first down to extend a drive, or that catch is for a touchdown, or whatever. If it just takes the pressure off of Devontae Adams or opens Devontae Adams up, then he can help you. I mean, any weapons are good weapons that you can find.
Right. So Sperry concentrates on Adams all the time. So this would really help, I think.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but after we lost that tight end, this is what we need to do. Let's get her done, because it is our season and we need to go all the way. And just in case things change, but I think Rodgers is going to stay. I mean, that's just my opinion. He's having fun. Yeah, he's got problems here and there, but so does everybody else in the world. Look at me. I got a cold today. Can't you tell? I can barely talk. I'm not doing this on purpose.
I think, and again, I know the reports are different, but I think that the decision is going to be made sooner rather than later. I could be wrong. Just my sense in all of this, because there's only going to be so many offers out there. And appreciate the phone call, Daniel. And the way I look at it is he probably wants to come the original report from anybody. He said that because he means it, or they said that because it's like, hey, he's going to the Packers. Packers are going to be the best team, so start the bidding. because the Packers can't outbid anybody. And so what they're going to do is take all these different offers and then weigh them and leverage them against Green Bay. Or he's going to take all these other offers, and if they're not that much better than what the Packers are offering, he'll then settle and go to Green Bay, if that's indeed what he's doing. Diana Rossini with ESPN says, per league sources, that he's going to wait. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to wait until the games are completed on Sunday before making his final decision. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Is he waiting to see if a team wins or loses? Or if a team loses a wideout and becomes more desperate to pay him?
To make sure the Packers have a good quarterback.
You know, yeah, but you know Rodgers is coming back at some point. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
I know, but maybe he's not sold on Rodgers. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I maybe he doesn't want to. He wants to make sure that Rodgers is in the huddle with a mask. Maybe that's what it is. You know,
or maybe he wants to see the weather in Green Bay or the forecast.
You know, that's the other thing. He complained about the turf. He complained about the weather. Maybe he's like, I really don't want to go play there, but I will if I have to. But is he waiting to see what if New England gets a win and the Buffalo Bills take a loss, and suddenly New England's on top in the AFC? I don't know what he would be specifically waiting for. The Saints, if the Saints get a win again with, maybe Tampa Bay takes a loss and suddenly the Saints are tied with Tampa Bay for the top spot in the South. Kansas City gets a win. I don't know what he's waiting for. Kansas City's a game over 500. By the way, the AFC West is the only division in football where every team in the division is over 500. Who'd have thunk it? With the Raiders, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos, every team in that division has 5 wins. Every one of them. I take that back. I think the AFC North, if I'm not mistaken, the AFC North as well is, so there's 2 divisions in football because every team there, even with Cincinnati losing, they're still a game over 500. I forgot about that. They're 5-4 as well. So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati all have 5 wins, and then Baltimore has 6. But every team in the AFC West has 5 wins. So maybe he's just waiting to see if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get another win and begin to separate themselves or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would wait between now and then and suddenly make your decision come Monday. I figure you'd want to figure out whatever your team is going to be and get into the building as soon as possible. Just me. I'm more sensible, though. I'm more career-oriented. 877-867-1670. The good news, though, David Bakhtiari is back. So that's nice. Good stuff there. Let's do this. By the way, we've got, is Paul, did you check and see if Paul Charchian's okay, Ben?
We are having his colleague join us.
Okay. For those that didn't know, Charch got COVID. He was pretty sick. So we got his, we're still going to have fantasy football today in the guillotine leagues, but we're going to do it a little bit later on. And Paul Charchian's confidant will be joining us. His right-hand man, if you will. And also the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Laravey, is going to join us a little bit later on today also. So a lot of good stuff. Brian Johnson, by the way, is going to be here for fantasy football. Brian Johnson. 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. More of the Bill Michael Show. It's coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michael Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held a light workout outdoors as they installed the game plan against the Seahawks. David Bakhtiari was taken off the PUP and is back on the 53-man roster. We watched him at work blocking and testing that knee, recovering from a torn ACL. Elton Jenkins was asked, will he move from left tackle back to left guard or maybe take over at center?
This is still a question that we trying to figure out. So, just wait until Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whichever day, we make that decision and we'll get it done.
Matt LaFleur says he's planning on getting Aaron Rodgers back from his COVID quarantine on Saturday and having him start Sunday against Seattle.
I do think it's a good opportunity for Jordan to continue to get those reps that he wouldn't necessarily get. And then Aaron was fully involved and quite interactive with us in the meetings.
And Davante Adams was asked, how did Jordan Love hold up at quarterback in his first NFL start against the Chiefs?
I feel like he handled it really well. I'm sure he wishes he would have played a little bit better, but it's his first opportunity in the game. I don't know how he measures up to the Brett Favres and Aaron Rodgers of the world as far as their very first appearance in a game. Trying him as a young quarterback, and I liked his poise in the huddle is really what I was most impressed with. I like to think I grew as a player as I got more experience, and same with Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino and whoever else was in there at quarterback. It's a tough position, so I'm happy with what he did though.
In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
That's our buddy Mike, and Mike is brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, good people. That's the Bay Motel in Green Bay, where Mike Clemens gives it 2 thumbs up and 0 bed bugs. That's the best part about it. You are good, you are clean, you are cozy, quiet, comfortable. And the Bay Family Restaurant, by the way, home-style cooking 7 days a week. The Bay Motel in Green Bay on South Military Avenue. Call them today for reservations, 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441. or go online at baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. if you had to say, because this is an interesting take. By the way, we got Thomas and Brett listening to us down in Mexico said there are bigger needs than OBJ. The D-line needs help, and that comes to mind. If you had to say the biggest needs for the Green Bay Packers are, they are what? Now, Dean Lowry and Kingsley Keke, they've played fairly well. Dean Lowry has shown at times to really come on this season. And, obviously Kingsley Keke's dealing with his second concussion since December of last year. The first one sidelined him for the final 3 games of the season last year. Tyler Lancaster, rookie TJ Slayton, Jack Heflin. They're backups, but all 3 are better, more suited to play nose tackle, and you're not going to unseat Kenny Clark from that position. They're not going to make a trade, obviously. So is the defensive line the biggest need? You could probably say that. I wouldn't disagree with that. You can say the tight end. It became a need because Robert Tonyan and that knee buckled in that game against Arizona. So they need a tight end, right? Josiah DeGuara, nice piece, but you really don't know what you have in him yet. So therefore, an additional weapon offensively would be warranted, right? How about corner? Big need depends on what the doctors really think about Jair Alexander. Now, we did see Jair yesterday walking around, which is good news. There's a sighting there. It's not saying that he's coming back anytime soon, but there's a sighting there. You can also talk about, the arrival of Whitney Merciless, maybe an edge rusher, the optimism about the Zadarius Smith possibly coming back. So maybe things are trending in that direction. So as far as your needs go, they're there, but it's probably defensive line, and then it trickles out from there. Now, going back to your original statement, Tom and Brett, you're right. You're 100% right. However, here's where the caveat comes in. Tell me who you want on the open market that would add a better piece of weaponry than OBJ right now. Because the trade deadline's gone. So tell me who is a better option to make this team better in the here and the now. You can't. Because there's just not that many guys hanging around out there right now. What you can do, though, is make your team better with a pickup like OBJ. That's the difference. I agree with you. Look, if you got TJ Watt, who was just cut loose by the Pittsburgh Steelers hanging around out there, duh, no doubt. But beyond that, you don't have that. So I'll agree with you that there are bigger needs, but as far as bigger impact players coming into this team right now, no, they're not out there. They're not floating around out there. You don't have another bigger name, another quality player that's been let go by a team defensively that the Packers can delve in on. This is it. It's not about this guy or that guy. It's about this guy or nobody. That's what the decision is. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Fernando says it's about the red zone. The offense has been stagnant, only converting just over 50% when last year they were lights out. That's one of the biggest things OBJ will help with. That is a great point, Fernando. That's a great point. You are 100% correct. This team has not been good in the red zone this season. Thus, and whatever you want to say, whether it's the play calling, it's Rodgers, it's circumstance, whatever, but that is a great point. They have not been in the red zone this year. Good point. He would help there because not only does he's big, he has that capability to go up and get a ball and bring it down in the end zone, but also you got to compensate for that being on the field, which takes away pressure from a cigar or whoever field. got to account for OBJ. Not saying he's your primary target. You just have to account for him because he's still got that capability. That's a great point. Great point. We're gonna rock on. This is good stuff today. I'm into it. It's kind of a really rough day, man. But sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
David Bakhtiari is officially back with the Green Bay Packers. The team activated the All-Pro left tackle from the PUP list Wednesday, adding him to the active roster for the first time since he suffered a torn ACL in practice last December. Also, speaking of being cleared, if he is negative for COVID-19, the earliest Aaron Rodgers could return is Saturday. Head coach Matt LaFleur was asked if he decides Rodgers can play if healthy.
You're always concerned for the health and well-being of your players, so that's always part of the discussion. But if typically I'd say when guys are cleared, you don't ask too many questions.
The Packers are also looking to bolster their offense, as is reported by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that the team offered Odell Beckham Jr. the veteran minimum. Wide receiver Devontae Adams on the podium yesterday says he hopes the deal gets done.
Hopes are up there pretty high. Been talking to him a little bit, so we'll see what happens. But like I've said previously, I don't expect anything to happen, but if it does, that'd be great.
The Packers will host the Seattle Seahawks Sunday at Lambeau Field for a 3:25 kickoff.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
For the in 4 seasons, Brewers' Josh Hader has been named the NL Relief Pitcher of the Year. Over 60 appearances of work, he compiled a 1.23 ERA while converting 34 of 35 save opportunities. And finally, the Milwaukee Bucks would blow a 24-point lead last night, but Pat Connaughton would step up with a season-high 23 points as the Deer would beat the Knicks 112-100 to move to 6-6 on the year. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
The Bill Michaels Show is brought to you by and presented to you by our good friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Tonight, we're going to be at Paulie's Pub and Eatery for the Bill Michaels Huddle. Rob Reichel is going to be our guest. Looking forward to it. Come on out tonight, 6 to 8 on many of these same stations. Joining us now on the hotline, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, longtime friend Wayne Laravey. And Wayne, I guess the good news is that David Bakhtiari is back. At least the offensive line is going to start shaping up in that sense, right?
Yeah, and, I don't know if he's going to play this week. We're not sure yet. I would assume that he will, but that assumptions are usually incorrect this particular season for one reason or another. So I wouldn't bank on anything. But, yeah, it'd be good to get him back in there, Bill. The line has hung in there pretty well when you consider all the changes that have occurred due to injury and other factors. But quite frankly, it's a far cry from where it was the past 2 seasons, which was a top 5 line in the league and the number 1 pass blocking line in the league. So, and I just think that's a little subtle thing. The offense is kind of middle of the pack this year instead of number 1 in most categories as it was a year ago. The offensive line is part of that. I'm not saying they've been bad at all. They have been very resourceful, and they played hard, and they've hung in there, but it's not quite what we had here a year ago.
So what then begins to shuffle if Bakhtiari is back? Where does Elton Jenkins go back to guard, or does he become the big burly mauler center that, people have talked about? Where do they put him?
It's a real good question because any number of things, and I'm just speculating from the outside looking in, I don't know, but they could move him back to guard where he was a year ago. Now your left side is back intact. They could put him at center, which many people, at least in the scouting world, say is his best position, and then move Lucas Patrick over to right guard, where, according to Pro Football Focus, Royce Newman has been struggling. And again, Bill, I'm not an offensive line aficionado. When I say people are struggling, I base it on what the scouts are saying, what Pro Football Focus is saying, and the people who grade these things say. So maybe you would do that, and we'll see. But any number of combinations could occur because Elton Jenkins is so versatile.
So now that we believe anyway that there is a more than 90% chance Aaron Rodgers is going to be back, unless, of course, he tests out of this game. But, I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to be rusty. I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to miss a beat, other than if he had COVID and the symptoms were severe. That takes kind of a toll on the body if you've had that. I mean, you just don't bounce back from that, specifically in your cardio.
No, you really don't. Davante Adams talked about that. It took him a little bit to come back from it. And from all indications, our Aaron actually did have it. He had symptoms. Not bad, but he did have symptoms, and he's been off for 10 days, off the practice field, off the game field. So there's a certain amount of conditioning you lose. I mean, my old broadcast partner, Greg Kelser, who played with Magic Johnson on Michigan State's national championship team, used to tell me, Wayne, it takes 2 months to get into shape and about 2 days to get out of shape. So and I found that to be true.
So this whole talk about Odell Beckham Jr., and I know we're waiting to find out, and everybody's holding their breath. With Tonyan going down, it does give them another legitimate weapon, a guy that can catch passes in the red zone. He's a big, strong target. Give me your thoughts on the possibility of bringing in Odell Beckham Jr.
I just don't know how much he has left, Bill. I'm kind of skeptical with some of the people out there who have written and said that, hey, this guy, if he had a lot left in the tank, there's no way he'd be on the waiver wire. And I understand there's baggage involved with OBJ, and I understand all of that, and that may be part of the reason why he's on the waiver wire. But believe me, no, if he was the player he was 5 years ago, there's no way he'd make the waiver wire. You'd accept all the baggage as just part of the deal. So I don't know how much he has left. I don't know where he'd fit in. And I guess I say that in the standpoint of who do you take snaps away from? Alan Lazard is integral to the running game as a downfield blocker, and is also a decent, certainly a good receiver out there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, they need to get him back on track as the deep threat. Davante Adams, you're going to throw to OBJ instead of Davante Adams? I don't think so. So I'm not quite sure where he fits. And people are saying, well, he'd replace Tonyan. No, he's not a tight end. He would not replace. He would not run the routes that Tunyan's running. That's a different ball game. Josiah DeGuara is good. I know they're trying to see if he can do some of the things Tonyan did, and he can probably do some of the things Tonyan did. But I don't for a minute think he can do everything Tonyan did, because Tonyan is such a good athlete.
Yeah, that's interesting, because you're right. He's not going to become a tight end. I've heard talk, on the NFL Network that, well, then you could put Davante more in the slot to create mismatches, and it would really kind of free things up. And I understand all of that. But again, I'm like you. It's like, he's not a burner. He can go up and get a ball. He still has good leaping ability. But your downfield guy is still going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Davante Adams to a certain extent. So you're right. Are you going to take it away from really the best route runner you have in Alan Lazard? Are you going to take away throws and catches from out of the backfield from Aaron Jones? There's only one football, and we know he's not happy not getting the football in Cleveland. What makes everybody think that he's going to be ecstatic coming to Green Bay and not getting the football? And he's already complained about the cold in the field. So I don't know what's going to make the guy happy.
I don't either. But again, it's got us off of, 2 weeks ago, we were all about the Washington football team and what went on there. And before that, we were on to John Gruden. Okay, so he takes over the news cycle. Then it's Aaron Rodgers on COVID, and now it's OBJ. Our business is never a dull moment, and I'm sure for you guys in talk radio, this is just great. This is a panacea.
This has been fantastic, and we're waiting for the Wayne Laravey I got hammered scandal somewhere or something like that. That's the next thing. You and Rock are out in the town one night just getting crazy. Defensively speaking, we've got Kenny Clark back at practice, which is terrific news. But a back injury can be tricky. I don't know what the effectiveness is going to be for Kenny Clark. We know that probably you get to Kenny, then Dean Lowry's had a pretty good season, and then there's just everybody else. Probably the defensive line is the weakest link, and they're even playing a little bit better. And the defense overall is playing better, and they're starting to get some of the cavalry back from injury. How good can this defense get if they continue to progress health-wise?
Yeah, I think, they need to get a little healthier. There's no doubt about that. And Kenny Clark, after a real strong start to the season, first 5 weeks or so of the season, hit a little bit of a lull, but, he's still the presence in there that you need, that you have to have. So I really think that's, getting him back, and hopefully he can play this week. That would be terrific. And he's a great player. But if they can get Jair Alexander back eventually, Rashawn Gary has taken over some of the pass rushing role from Zadarius Smith. But if they can get him back down the stretch, we're talking about most of this stuff happening after the bye. The Packers can put this thing together and down the stretch in December and get people back into the mix. And then all of a sudden by January, you've got a very deep team. Eric Stokes, a big loss, missing that Kansas City game, but they hung in there well. They really did until the very end when the Chiefs beat him with that play to Tyreek Hill to seal the game. So Bill, I hesitate to say how good they can become. I think they've been better than expected, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop. But I'm really proud of the way they played the last few weeks, because I think this defense, they were single-handedly kept the Packers in that game at Kansas City when the offense was unable to do its part, and certainly the special teams let them down.
We're talking with Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers. What did you think of Jordan Love's performance?
The intangibles. I was looking at the intangibles. I knew it would be a struggle, in terms of some of the other things and, going up against a lot of blitzing and that type of thing. But what I looked for was his demeanor and the way he carried himself. And I didn't, and I agree with Matt LaFleur. I didn't see him flinch out there. Did I see him nervous? Yeah. First couple of passes, especially, and first couple of drives. Yeah, they were passes that were off the mark that didn't have to be. It was nervous. It was nerves, and it's totally understandable. I thought in general, the moment was not too big for him. Did he execute the way he would have liked to? No, but I thought by that fourth quarter, two things happened. I think the coaching staff finally got a handle for calling plays that he could execute in that game. And that's no small feat. It takes time for a coaching staff, for a play caller to kind of meld with his quarterback mentally and get on the same page and say, okay, we would call this play for Aaron Rodgers, but Jordan Love isn't capable of doing that yet. So we have to call this play here, that type of thing. And I think Matt LaFleur, as he admitted, did a better job as that game went on in getting Jordan Love plays that he could execute. And I thought Jordan, those last couple of drives, really stood up and shone through. Here's a guy having a bad day by all accounts, and yet those last couple of drives gave me hope for the future with this kid, because I think he held his poise, number one, and he executed down the stretch a little bit and got them into the end zone. And I thought those are positives here for Jordan Love.
You mentioned special teams just a few moments ago. It continues to be a problem. What is the discussion regarding special teams? I mean, it seems like we don't talk about it all the time, but when it's bad, it's bad. And we have seen, and I don't put it all on Mason Crosby, Wayne. I know some people want to say Mason's past his prime. He's too old. He's not accurate. But every kicker knows, everybody I've talked to says if the laces aren't straight, the ball will drift. It's not their fault. And the further out they are, the more the ball will drift. So I don't look at it as Mason's fault, but technically from center, from long snapper to Bojorquez to the kick has not been good. And then obviously they've had some gaffes in the return game as well.
Okay, from my vantage point at Arrowhead Stadium, and that's 10,000 feet above the playing surface, 10,000. If you think Jordan Love's mother had a bad sleep, you should have seen where we were. We were at least 2 stories above where she was, okay? Now, and I had the binoculars on. I'm watching that field goal that got blocked, and I could see the laces. They were pointing to me on the sideline near the 50-yard line, okay? That's where the laces were pointed. So, and apparently on the first kick that missed, that drifted left, the laces were not right as well, and there was a discussion between Mason Crosby and Corey Bojorquez. You asked, what can they do? They are trying everything, Bill. I can assure you of that. They are trying changes in personnel. They've got some starters playing special teams. They have players on this 53-man roster whose main role is special teams. They've swapped out 2 of the 3 specialists, okay? They've got a new snapper. They've got a new holder. They've got a new punter. They've got, then Mason Crosby is trying to deal with it all. This is difficult. Bojorquez has been a godsend from a punting standpoint, but he's not quite as good a holder as J.K. Scott was. That's trying to work. And the game, the rookie Amari Rodgers let that punt go that eventually hit, Malik Taylor. Mm-hmm. And, Kansas City golden opportunity. I'm surprised they didn't punch it in for 7, but they did 3 out of it. So those kinds of things happening, it's tough. And I don't know where you go in season. I don't know how you can change this in season. You have to work pretty much with what you've got. And they're working hard with what they've got.
What is the philosophy by not having Jordan Love be the holder?
Interesting point. I don't know of another team in the league at the moment. There might be one that has the quarterback holding. And it used to always be when we were kids, the holder was the backup quarterback usually, or even the starting quarterback usually. And you could do some things with that. You know what I mean? You could run a fake field goal and throw a pass with a quarterback throwing the pass. Right. I don't know, except that, what they like is, and the specialists work together. They spend most of the practice, for example, let's say the offense and defense are out on the field at Ray Nitschke Field working out outside. The specialists are working inside the Hudson Center, and they're doing all that stuff. And so you would have to take your backup quarterback who runs scout team and take him off the field and put him in with the specialist. So that's primarily why they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, my assumption is you're 100% correct. I've thought about the same thing, and you're right, though. Growing up, man, it was always a backup quarterback because there was always a threat that guy could just all of a sudden step up and roll out and throw a pass, and you always had to account for that. But you're 100% correct. Wayne, always good to talk to you, my friend. Enjoy the game this coming weekend at Lambeau, and maybe we'll see if Odell Beckham Jr. is actually in green and gold.
All right, Bill. It'll be interesting.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
There you go. That's Wayne Laravey, the voice of the Green Bay Packers. And I had mentioned, and Andrew said, well, wait a minute. It was cold in New York and Cleveland. I said that tongue-in-cheek because OBJ did make fun of or talk about and denigrate a little bit the turf at Lambeau Field when he was saying, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just hard dirt or no grass. And he went on and on about it. So, no, but you're right. It was cold in New York. It was cold in Cleveland. And it's cold in Green Bay, and he's played in that climate. And it's not like he's coming from Miami and has played in Miami his entire life. So you're 100% correct. By the way, breaking news regarding the NFL, the Panthers have signed quarterback Cam Newton. The Packers have agreed to quarterback with Cam Newton. Granted, have agreed to terms with Cam Newton. So I guess you can go home again, but is it going to be the same? No. He'll get an ovation. It'll feel good. It'll look good. Be a lot of cameras there. And then after that, it'll be the train wreck that it's been. Cam Newton's not Cam Newton anymore. This is not Superman running through the door. This is the same guy that walked off the podium at the Super Bowl and has never been the same since. So it's an upgrade, certainly, than what they have. So that team, they're grasping for straws because right now they've gone into a free fall ever since McCaffrey went down with his injury. But Cam Newton heading back to Carolina. This portion of the program talking about our good friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. What are the signs of fall? Okay? Falling temperature, leaves everywhere, wind, rain, black. Look out the window. That's fall. That's fall right there. So what you need to do, windows, doors, all the installers, they're going into hibernation. Not at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Not there. They're doing it year round. You should also know that every Pella of Wisconsin installer goes through a rigorous, mandatory Pella certification every year to ensure that when they leave your home, you are 100% satisfied. So don't forget, 12 months, no interest, no payments for 12 months. You got percentages off of labor. You got all that kind of stuff. 20% off labor. All of that right now. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. If you are sitting in your home and you listen. If you can hear the wind, you don't want to hear that. Put in Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They're fantastic. I'm telling you. Don't take my word for it. Go to the showroom, call one of the installers, call one of the sales reps, get them to your house, let them talk to you about it. They can match up the interior in your home to the trim. They can give you different hardware, the hardware you currently have, whatever it happens to be. They can do all of that, and they are great windows and doors. They're secure, they're solid, they're economical, and they add value to your house. What more reasons could you possibly need to call Gina Della from Pella? Call them 855-PELLA-WI, 855-PELLA, 855-PELLA-WI, or get your free consultation right now. Visit them at PELLAWI.com. That is PELLAWI.com. Fantastic people over there at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's cold. There's no way around it. You want to come out and just get used to the element. So before anybody was out there, I tried to run out and see how it felt. And it was freezing. The field was dirt or whatever it was. It's a slick surface. So we just kind of wanted to come out and get and almost say, I can't say what I wanted to say, but forget about the cold. It's going to be there. There's nothing you can do. There's no way around it. And it's unfortunate we didn't put our best foot forward today.
There you go. Those are the words of Odell Beckham Jr. No word on him as far as coming to Green Bay, but Cam Newton now heading off to Carolina. Going home to the Panthers. We'll see if his play is better. It's not going to be the MVP form that it once was, but we'll see. We'll see. As they need to do something. They have been, how do I put it? Not good. Not good. They started off the season with such promise, and it has been difficult to say the very least since then. So when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, it has been inauspicious to say the very least. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Do it. This is Michael. Michael writes, no way will Odell Beckham Jr. come to Green Bay. Don't ask me why. I just don't think it's the Packers' way. People keep comparing this to the Andre Rison deal. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Wolf is not walking through that door. That's from Michael. Michael, appreciate the email. You may be right. Look, I don't know what sweetening the pot would mean. But if OBJ is truly waiting out the weekend and weighing the options to see where he wants to go, isn't that kind of a head case move to begin with? If that's true, think about it. If that's true, and that's the report, Diana Rossini from ESPN and others, the NFL Network have reported the same thing, saying, sources are saying that OBJ is going to wait until the end of the weekend to make his decision. Well, why? Wouldn't you want to get in there now, get your physical done now, get looked at now, meet your team now? You can say, okay, I don't want to be a distraction coming into the locker room, but wouldn't you want to be standing on the sidelines with your now teammates, a team that you're going to be making this postseason push for rather than walking in on a Monday? Wouldn't you rather be there now? Get all your personal stuff settled. Get your clothes unpacked. Get your suitcase unpacked. Do it this weekend. Get in the facility. Monday and Tuesday, you take it easy. You start to really get yourself indoctrinated into the system. And then Wednesday, you're at practice, right? Wouldn't you want to do that now? Or are you sitting back going, let's see if somebody's going to pay me more money. Let's see how desperate these teams get. Because if it's about winning, you want to be there now. Tell me a good reason why, unless it's about the money, you would not want to be with your new team now. That doesn't make sense. And don't forget, if indeed the rumors are true, we know that Davante Adams called him and spoke with him. I don't know specifically if Aaron Rodgers has, but that's the report. And if you got Rodgers and Davante calling you saying, hey, dude, come on in. We got something good here. Come on in. And you're not, then it's about the money. If it's all about winning, you're here now. You're here now. Just my opinion. Could this wait be considered a selfish move? 877-867-1670. Because that's legit. That's legit. Hit us up. What else do we have here for you? This is from the group. The group over on Twitter says, and I quote, OBJ would mean so much to this team. It's the Andre Rison move in the here and the now. Boy, is that all everybody has to hang on to? The Andre Rison move? It's got to be. It's got to be. We're going to win a championship if OBJ comes in. I don't think so. I think that it's a name. It's a wide receiver. They would be picking him up midseason. He's a troubled guy, apparently. I don't know him personally, so I can't specifically say. But it's like you're trying to talk yourself into, well, this is Andre Rison. This is 96 repeating itself. This is it. We're doing this. No. No. Different team, different time. I understand the parallels. I really do. But not putting my eggs in that basket. This is from Anthony, who says, if the offensive line gets shifted around, who is the odd man out? Well, when we talked to Wayne Laravey, we just talked to Wayne Laravey just moments ago. He's right. I mean, when you talk about Royce Newman, when it comes to his struggles, just this past week, short of, by the way, when you go focus the snap, he played snap 63 snaps, 41 pass block, 22 run block. He graded out overall the worst. He was the worst pass blocker they had. Lucas Patrick didn't do much better. Now, Lucas Patrick, I said that coming out of that game and during the Green and Gold postgame show. Lucas Patrick got jumped a few times. He was slow of foot, man. Royce Newman was better in run blocking, but not much. But really poor in pass blocking. He got 8 up in pass blocking this past week. I mean, you go back a week ago. Go back to the game against Arizona when they won that ball game. Royce Newman, when it comes to overall performance, the only guy on the line, three guys actually on the line graded out lower than he did. He actually had a decent game, but it wasn't great. He only had averaged 66.1, while Billy Turner, Lucas Patrick, John Runyon all had worse games than he did. John Runyon, by the way, had a terrible game when it came to pass blocking in that contest. We noted that after the game as well. They shot the gut a couple of times on him. Short of tripping somebody, he wasn't quick enough. Sometimes it's just a matchup, and you can look at a guy and go, man, he's really struggling. But sometimes a guy just got you. He's got something on you. He's got something either you haven't seen. He's got a technique. He's got a jump. He's got a quick step. He's got something, Sometimes there's not a great matchup there. But overall, you may be really, really solid. So a game, you may not have a great game. But overall, you're really good. So I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. But when you look at Royce Newman beyond that, you go back a couple of weeks. Go back to, say, the Washington game. He was pretty poor in that game, too. He was the second worst graded offensive player in that contest. The second worst. So to say he's been struggling is a little bit of probably an understatement. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Hey, don't forget, coming up in an hour, I take that back, not an hour, a half hour from now. Fantasy football. Get your fantasy football questions in. Going to be answering some of those. Or excuse me, about an hour and a half from now. Not an hour from now, or a half hour from now. An hour and a half from now. I knew I was getting it wrong. We're going to do some fantasy football. So get your fantasy football questions in. Start thinking about it. Start getting them to us. I'll start writing them down as I see them come across, whether it's Twitter or over on the Bud Light live stream. But start getting us your fantasy football questions. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. This portion of the program being brought to you by our good friends at Quick Trip. They are the official fuel and convenience store sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk. And right now, don't forget, get in there and get yourself registered for the Packers opening drive contest. You can win some cash. You can get registered for all kinds of stuff, including they're going to be giving away a Chevy Silverado, too. All kinds of good stuff from our friends at Quick Trip. That's the reason you shop there. Not only is it clean, the bathrooms are great, the prices are fantastic, it's easy in, easy out, milk, bread, eggs, bananas, hot food, cold food, whatever. But they're giving away stuff too, giving you some cash, the opportunities to win some cash. So stop into our friends at Quick Trip and see if I just love Quick Trip. I just do. It's just so Wisconsin and awesome. It just is. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gianadella from Pella and the title tones. Game day train, take 47.
I'm leaving.
Leaving?
I'm a game day train to Tattletone.
Leaving on a game day train.
What does Tina get us into? Come on, Leroy, Wayne, Tausch, we can do this.
I don't know, Gina. I'm just not feeling it.
Same here, Leroy. Yeah, like what's our motivation?
Well, with chilly winds sneaking in, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can replace those leaky, stuck, and squeaky windows and doors, and we install year-round.
I was thinking more like matching crushed velvet jacket.
Ooh, in green and gold? Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Listen, how about if we offered Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin fans 12 months, no payments, and no interest?
Maybe.
Plus 20% off installation.
Yeah, that's more like.
Now we're cooking with gas.
But only through November 30th. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Woo, woo. Oh, that was good. Good, woo, woo.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on this kind of rainy, dreary Thursday, and it's the 11th of November. You know what today is, right? Today is Veterans Day, and it is. I do a lot. Don't get me wrong, with veterans and veterans charities, and we had a terrific turnout last night, and some of the proceeds are going to go to the Fisher House, Wisconsin, but there is nothing, unless you're a veteran, there is nothing we as everyday civilians can say that can have an understanding as to what it is veterans, military members, and such, specifically those that have gone to different theaters, have seen, endured for us. So today, I think the best thing you can possibly say to any veteran out there is simply thank you. Because thank you for your service has to be genuine. It cannot be cliche, and it has to have an understanding and depth of meaning. But I think most veterans, most that I know, just appreciate it if they're recognized. They signed up for whatever tour they went on to say, you do your thing. You go about your business. You lay your head on your pillow at night and you don't have a worry. None at all. You know why? I got this. So the least we can do is, and today is that day. We should say it all the time, don't get me wrong, but today is that day. So to all of you veterans, military members, and even family members of military members that also go through so much and know what it's like with the worry and concern and such when that particular person in your family heads off to serve the country. The worry, and you partake in everything through them that they're going through. So thanks to military members, their families, veterans, and such, because we can't do this, what we do here, and have the liberties and freedoms to do and say what we say and talk about and discuss every day without those of you battling for it. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Kimber writes, OBJ all the way. Let's get the chant going now. I don't think OBJ all the way is appropriate until OBJ is here. And even then, I think it would be more like OBJ after Devontae. This is not, Jesus Christ coming back from the dead and leading the Packers to a Super Bowl. This is an aging wide receiver who's had somewhat of a problematic past, who is trying to come in and just be an additional weapon for Aaron Rodgers. But I get where you're going, and I like your enthusiasm. I'm just trying to keep it in perspective. Just an FYI. Oh, I love it. This is from OAB, who says, what now when it comes to the running backs in the Badgers program? What now? This is not a good look. After Ches Malusi is now out the rest of the season, where do the Badgers go? Well, we talked about that. It's a thin group, as teams have jettisoned or injury. And really attest to this more than I can, but two things go hand in hand here. Yes, the running game has been good, but also if you went back and watched that game against Rodgers, that offensive line dominated. They were blowing open some serious holes. It wasn't like, it was just one running back or two jump cutting and such, and all of a sudden creating all kinds of things downfield. That offensive line was really, really good.
I've argued for the last month, offensive line's improvement has actually been the biggest factor behind this team winning 5 straight.
I would agree with that. They gave Graham Mertz time to throw the football. It hasn't been a jailbreak. They've been very good in the run game. It just seems like, I don't know what happened, because we were talking about how bad the offensive line was through the first 3-4 games. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it went from being this discombobulated, maybe not really being assured of who they have, when they have them, or losing their one-on-ones, to all of a sudden, technically, they're sound, they're locked in, even pulling guards and tackles have looked good and on point. It's like everything just kind of came together. And
they stopped playing future top 5 picks that are edge rushers.
Well, this is true.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
But also, Joe Rudolph, offensive line coach, he's just done a tremendous job. It's young guys playing better. It's veterans returning to their good form. I look to him for a lot of the credit.
Yep. No, it's been the offensive line has been so much better. 100% agree. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Don't forget, coming up about an hour and 15, we got fantasy football. Start getting your questions to us. We got a lot more to get to. Stay tuned. Bill Michaels Show comes back.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers have practice today and tomorrow to prepare for the Seahawks. Rookie defensive back Eric Stokes took part in team warm-ups yesterday, but then he left the field. Stokes injured his knee during pregame warm-ups in Kansas City and did not play against the Chiefs. Kenny Clark was spotted, but not on the practice field. Clark left the Chiefs game with a sore back. Former Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. said to be interested in 4 teams: the Saints, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and the Packers. And Devontae Adams says he first met Beckham at the Combine, their rookie year, and have kept in touch over the years.
We definitely have entertained the idea, just trying to see where his mind is, and I don't think he knows right now what the deal is. But yeah, I've been kind of joking throughout the process of him with over in Cleveland and stuff, just kind of let him know he got a nice home over here if he's ready for that and if it could work. But it's a business, so it's a lot that goes into it. It's not as easy as we want him, and he wants to be here, so we'll see what happens.
Seattle is back from their bye. Russell Wilson practiced again a month after surgery on his throwing hand middle finger. Pete Carroll.
He's not out here to do anything but play. He's not coming back just to practice, so we'll see what happens as the week goes on. But give us days to figure that out. But the intention is that if he's okay, he plays.
And what has Matt LaFleur told his players after the NFL handed the team $300,000 in fines and Aaron Rodgers' controversial statements?
Kind of keep your head in the sand and don't look at anything. I constantly have to remind everybody, like in my family, hey, don't read, don't look at anything. And I have to follow the same advice, I guess. You just focus on the task at hand. And because each week is such a challenge, no matter who you're playing, everybody has different circumstances. Everybody in the league is going through adversity.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up after the top of the hour. Stay tuned for that. Packers getting ready to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And when it comes to pass rush, man, this is not a team that gets after it. Only 13 sacks total on the season for the Seahawks. You talk about a team that doesn't defensively, kind of give it up. They have created 5 fumbles so far this season. Or 7 fumbles. But this is not a team that is big on turnovers. It's not a team that's knocking them dead when it comes to defensively speaking. Anyway, when it comes to a big play in big games, Packers should win this game. Aaron Rodgers be coming back. He'd be coming back. So this, for all intents and purposes, should be a win. Should be a win, for lack of a better term. No doubt about it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. This should be a win. This should be a win. Packers should get back on track. Rodgers should be back. I don't see, I know that, and you're going to hear from the head coach, Matt LaFleur, coming up. Matt LaFleur basically putting it out there today with David Bakhtiari being activated off the PUP list. It's up to him to kind of prove that he's ready to go. And if he's ready to go, he's going to be in there. He's going to be in there. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I hope he is, to be honest, but see what happens. By the way, Seattle on their now when you look at this this team now without Russell Wilson, they have not been good, specifically on third down. The defenses have been able to get off the field on them quite often. Their defense is better on third down, oddly enough, even though they haven't done a ton. Their defense has been better because their defense has averaged 34% on third down this season, getting off the field. So they're giving up a lot between the 20s. They're not giving up a ton of points, but they've given up a lot more first downs up and down the field. Seattle, when you start to get into the analytics of this thing, Seattle Seahawks have put up 141 first downs. They've given up 194. They've given up almost 300 more yards passing than what they've been able to accomplish. Now, Russell Wilson's been down. But when you look at the opponents passing against them, when you look at the opponents, by the way, getting after it on the offense side of things, the Seattle Seahawks have been giving up sacks like they're candy. So you should be able to get after. Now, Russell Wilson's a different runner. We all know that. But you should be able to get after that as well. That offensive line has been a sieve for them for a while now. 877-867-1670. I don't have any qualms, any worries whatsoever about this weekend. Do you? Are you feeling like there's a nervousness here? I think the Packers get back on track. I'm not concerned about this in any way, shape, or form. They get the win. Then on November 21st, they head off to Minnesota. They head off to Minnesota, that big one, U.S. Bank Stadium, and that's a rivalry game. And to me, honestly, that's the best team behind the Packers in the division. Anytime you go to Minnesota, it always makes you nervous. I think the Packers are going to win. No problem there. The next game that I think the Packers have a legitimate shot at maybe taking it on the chin is going to be at 3:25 on November 28th, the gold package game. That's at Lambeau Field against the LA Rams, and then they finally get to the bye week. I think they're going to go into the bye week. The possibility of 3 losses, but because it's at Lambeau Field, I feel pretty good about it. 877-867-1670. Marty says, I think the Packers are going to end up with 4 losses on the season. 4 losses on the season. Is it the ones that you would believe? Is it the fact that they've got 2, one against Kansas City, one against New Orleans? Then it's LA, and then it's Baltimore? Or is there somewhere else along the way you feel the team is going to slip up? Because if they go undefeated in the division, the only other game that they could possibly slip up on would be the Christmas Day game against Cleveland. Do they lose one to the Vikings? Do they lose one to the Bears? I can't imagine them losing to the Lions. Are you rooting for, by the way, Ben, are you rooting for the Lions not to get a win? Are you, because now I'm to the point where I hope the Lions don't go over. I'm looking for the Lions to get a win. I'm now rooting for the Lions openly.
I don't want anyone to steal Dan Orlovsky's thunder, so no. he's always the run out of the end zone 0-16 guy.
And now he's the analyst, if you will, over on ESPN. He's the screaming, yelling, I know it more than you do analyst on ESPN.
He's tied his analyst career to Carson Wentz being good, and we know how that's gone.
By the way, Paul says, just you are saying this should be a win makes me nervous. Packers have a tendency to let down in these types of games. No, Paul, no. I'm not nervous about this one. Not at all. Is it going to be close? Maybe a touchdown. But just because I say it, no. The game that I thought they would lose was Arizona, and I thought it would be close. And as I said at the time, it would not surprise me if they won. There's something good about this team. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something good about it. So I'm not concerned about this game upcoming. The only game that bothers me right now that's legit on the docket that really I can say I could circle this as a loss is going to be the Rams. Picking up Von Miller, brilliant move, bolstering that defense. I love it. Matthew Stafford, quality quarterback, but they could use another wideout alongside Cooper Kupp. But no, I'm good with that. 2 down, 2 to go. Man, today on a dreary, dismal day, it's flying by. Flying by. Good stuff. We got more. Matt LaFleur, you're going to hear from him and some of his comments regarding some of the injuries on this team and some of the guys getting better. Stay tuned. Be back right after this. Oh, now lift. Okay, go ahead.
This is a Wisconsin Sport Age.
Well, Wisconsin's leading rusher is done for the season. Running back Ches Malusi suffered a knee injury against Rutgers and will miss the rest of the year. That according to Paul Christ.
And obviously saddens really all of them. You know, there's nothing more important, and why guys do this is to be able to play in these games. And I thought he gave a ton to this team, you know, certainly in production, but a lot of other areas. So, you know, sad about that. He's competitive, and he'll come back on it.
Chris said the injury to Malusi going to keep him out of spring practice. Unclear when he'll be cleared to return. The injury likely means more opportunities for freshman Braylon Allen, along with sophomore Julius Davis and junior Brady Schiffer. Wisconsin going to host Northwestern on Saturday. Badgers have won 5 in a row, sit tie for first in the Big Ten West with 3 other teams. Turning to the Packers, are back in the practice field this afternoon as they get ready for a visit from Seattle. Much of the news around the team is off the field, though. That's where they're reportedly among a number of teams still in pursuit of free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Devontae Adams said he's spoken with Beckham Jr. in recent days. Also a report that quarterback Aaron Rodgers has reached out to recruit him. Gave me the Packers and the Seahawks on Sunday at Lambeau Field.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, they care about your community like they believe the communities where their athletes are the true champions. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs were 112-100 winners over the Knicks last night in New York. Pat Connaughton led the way with 23 points. Going to be in Boston tomorrow. And the Badgers going to be hosting UW Green Bay tomorrow night at the Kohl Center. They will also honor former coach Bo Ryan at halftime. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. And again, on this Veterans Day, thank you to all of our veterans, military members, their families that are out there. We certainly appreciate, cherish, and respect all the work that you do. And again, thanks so much. Today is your day, and I hope in every way, shape, or form people recognize you and you are able to enjoy it. We really, really do appreciate it. Packers back in the practice field today. Good news, David Bakhtiari has been activated. A lot of talk about Odell Beckham Jr. as to whether or not he's going to be here. And then Matt LaFleur had another piece of nice news regarding Jair Alexander today and how he's progressing. So without further ado, let's take a listen to the head coach of the Green Bay Packers meeting with the media.
How you doing?
Good. How y'all doing?
Good. You know, considering with Kiki missing the last month of last year, how I don't know if relief is the right word, but to have him back out there yesterday with a kind of a short-term absence with concussion.
Yeah, he's still in the protocol, so he's just working through it, and we'll see where he's at.
Now that you've had another day, I asked this yesterday, but just the dynamic with Aaron going in from Zoom, practicing with Jordan, just what's it been like so far for you, and how difficult has it been?
It's been going great. The communication's been there. He's been in every meeting. He's been engaged. So it's just he's not with his guys out on the field. That's the dynamic that you never know. But we're very fortunate to have a guy that has got a ton of reps under his belt, has played a lot of ball. So we're pretty confident that provided he checks out well, that he can go out there and play at a high level.
What have you seen defensively from them? If you look at their yards, they've given up a lot. If you look at the points, they have not.
Yeah, I mean, they're very stingy in situational ball. They're very good on third down, and they're very good in the red zone. So those are two areas of emphasis like they always are. But these guys they're a really good tackling team. So you might get a completion or you might get a run going, but, on that second level and third level, these guys tackle as well as anybody.
You said you're confident or provided he checks out well, Aaron. When do you know it's not till Saturday?
Pretty much.
Does that make things easier or harder to not? I mean, it's totally outside your control.
Yeah.
With injuries, you have an idea.
Sure. No, it definitely adds a element of just unknown there, right? But Jordan's preparing like he's the starter, and we'll get them both ready to play.
And one of the things I think it says in that protocol is that you may have to activate him even if you don't know what his status is. I mean, will you know by 3:00 whether he's good to go? Do you feel like you'll know by 3:00?
I sure as heck hope so, Tom. Yeah, we better know one way or the other.
I want to ask you, because I'm sure you're not going to say if he's going to play, but do you know what you're going to do with Bakhtiari as far as the starting five goes? Do you have that figured out?
Well, the one thing that we got to get through the week of practice, and you got to string back-to-back days. You got to get into football shape, get multiple reps, try to simulate a drive as best you can, and just see how he responds. And then when he's ready to go, then he'll be in the lineup.
So I guess to follow up to that is with Elton, obviously he's greatly impacted. How do you get him the looks that he needs, because he could be playing two wildly different spots?
All these are challenges that we have to think about and work through each and every week. And especially when you have a guy that if you're not quite sure if he's going to play or not, I mean, that is one of the challenges that you just have to take on and roll with each and every week.
I know you guys had a good idea that Elton would be able to handle left tackle going in, but having half a season now of seeing that, how do you do? I mean, when you look at how he would stack up across the rest of the league, is he a bona fide left tackle, upper tier type guy, or what kind of guy is he?
Yeah, I think he's upper tier no matter what position he plays. He's just one of those guys that, can play all five spots. So he is a rare talent, and I love his mentality, his demeanor, obviously the way he approaches the game. He's a great professional, and he's going to continue to get better and better and better, and that's what's so exciting about him.
What do you think of the way Chris Barnes has handled things? He was your primary play caller last year. He started this year. You bring in Jay when the snaps get cut. That didn't work out. All of a sudden, Barnes is back and he plays the way he did the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's always a tough period of time for any player. You start to feel comfortable, and then you got a new guy coming in, like a guy like Dre, who obviously is playing at a very high level, and he's talking to the defense, and but I think KB has done an outstanding job just trying to focus on the things that are within his own control, just how he prepares each and every week, the energy and effort that he brings to our defense. And, I thought last week was his best performance, just the physicality, just owning his role, owning his job. But he's a great kid that brings just a level of consistency to our defense.
Now, with that, you've been able to run both him and Campbell together. What have you thought of how they've kind of, formed, kind of pairing? And also, what does that do for the nickel when you're able to stay with more two inside backer stuff, as opposed to asking like a safety to come down in the box?
Yeah, I just think, again, the more those guys play together, I think the more comfortable they are with one another, just the communication. There were times in the game last week where on that big hit on the goal line, where Dre was supposed to be the quarter flat player or whatever. And, the way they communicated and they switched responsibilities like that. And it shows that they're growing together. But as far as, each game plan is different in terms of whether you want to bring in a DB to play the inside backer position. A lot of it could be matchup predicated. But I do think that I don't know if this is the right term, but the box feels a little heavier when you have a bigger body in there. Maybe a little bit more stout and tougher to run against. But, certainly situationally, there's going to be times when you're going to want to dime in the game.
Now, was yesterday Jair's first day back in the building, and what's kind of the plan for him moving forward?
No, he's been around quite a bit, and the plan is just to try to continue to strengthen and allow his shoulder to heal, and we'll see where he's at. And it's going good, but there's still a long way out.
Matt, is there a feeling with your medical staff that Ladarius could come back now that you've had a look at him and he's working out from you guys? Do you think there's a chance he can come back this year? I think
there's always a chance, but again, it's a process, and you got to let that just kind of play itself out, and we'll see where we're at here in a few weeks.
Going back to the Elton, guys in this league that can play left tackle usually like to play left tackle, and he's shown that. Is that at all a tricky situation for him to move back inside? You have to have a conversation with them at all about that?
Yeah. You always want to communicate with those guys and kind of, let them know what's going on. And that is always a delicate situation, but he is such a team first kind of guy, and you can't have enough of those players on your team.
I'm not asking specifically about Odell here, but when there are roster moves, just of course it's about. I guess I'm just wondering, do you get involved in those things, like whether it's to A, gauge their interest, B, recruiting, just to see where they're at? I mean, anything along in that spectrum?
I think every situation is a little bit different, but certainly, Goody does a great job of informing me and allowing me to be part of the discussion in terms of where we want to go.
Good. Thank you.
All right, guys.
There you go. That is the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, and that is Matt LaFleur. Always good. Good news on Jair. Good news on David. He is going to have to prove himself. Jair is progressing nicely. Good stuff there. And when it comes to the personnel moves, Gutekunst is always talking to him, but we're going to have to wait and see. He's not going to give much up. And now it's funny because if you pay attention, I think it was Bill Huber that said, I know you're not going to tell us, but he's even got the media kind of trained to say, I'm not giving you anything. I just, is what it is. Is what it is. So I found that kind of funny. There was numerous times. It wasn't just Bill Huber. It was other media members that said, I know you're not going to say this, but, they're right. He's not going to tell him a damn thing. Cheddarball says it's so refreshing to listen to Matt LaFleur compared to Mike McCarthy, garbling over all over the place. Yeah, Mike McCarthy. Now, it's been a little bit better as of late, but if you listen to McCarthy a couple of weeks ago, it was just... It wasn't that it was incoherent. It was coherent babbling. Well, this guy's going to come back, and he'll be back because, he's working his way back, but he'll be back. Maybe. What? I was like, wow. Matt's at least succinct. He's not going to tell you everything, but he's going to give you a little insight. That's all you need to know. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do it. Phone lines are wide open. Coming up in less than an hour from now, we're going to do some fantasy football as well. So if you want to start getting your questions in, get them in now. Sue says, when does Bakhtiari have to know as to whether or not he's going to be the starter? Sue, they know. Now, like Matt LaFleur said, you got to put back-to-back, practices together that say you're ready. But he'll know. He'll know on Friday. They only did a walkthrough yesterday, so it wasn't like they were hitting. Nothing like that. Yesterday was just because yesterday even the injury report was a quote guesstimation as to who would and wouldn't be practicing because it was just a walkthrough. Rebecca, by the way, Rebecca, thank you for listening to us up in Manitowoc. Listening in Manitowoc, my friends and I have a bet. Will OBJ be in a Packers uniform by Sunday? No. So if you took the answer of no, you're probably right. Now, doesn't mean they couldn't sign a deal tonight, but I just don't think he's going to be in uniform anywhere on Sunday unless somebody comes in and knocks his socks off with a deal. I thought a deal would get done. I was kind of today's going to be 5 a deal get, whether it's in Green Bay or anywhere else for that matter. And now the reports are that he wants to wait until after Sunday to get a deal done. And my question is why? If it's not about the money, it's about winning. What are you waiting for? Think about everything you have to do when you go anywhere. What do? You get settled. You put away your toothbrush, your razors. You unpack your clothes. You put them in drawers. You get settled. You want to sit on the couch and just veg a little bit. So why would you not want to do that now? Sign a deal now, get in. So that way you can watch your new teammates on Sunday. You can be acclimated and look at game film and what guys are learning on Monday. Tuesday's your off day, but you can spend some time with the head coach, with the offensive coordinator. You can start going on. You can spend some time with Aaron Rodgers. You can talk to him or whomever it is you're going to play for. Get that done. And then come Tuesday, you're hitting the ground running. Pardon the pun. Why would you not want to do that now? You know why? Because what you're doing is you're waiting to see two things. One, I'm going to take the week off. Two, who's going to show me the money? Who is going to become desperate over the weekend to sign OBJ? And then 3, it's going to be, I'll come in on my own time. You know what? If that's the case, then I don't want him here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wouldn't want him here because I want a guy that's all in. I want a guy that's chomping at the bit, ready to go. A guy that says, I don't want to take any more time out of football. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to go. I want to help a team win. I want to get a paycheck. I want to go. Let's go. 877-867-1670. Our friends at the Newmel Medical Center, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. They've been doing it a long time, and others have come along. They've said, look, we can do this. We'll ship you pills in the mail. Really? You're not even seeing a doctor? You're not seeing any kind of a specialist? Nothing? You're just getting a pill in the mail and hoping for the best? Come on, man. Pills have been out there for a long time. These guys are different. Call my friends over at Newmel Medical Center, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the Newmel Medical Center. Also, if it's low T, let's say right now you're tired. Man, your ass is just dragging. You can't figure out why. Oh, it might be the time change. Oh, it might be the clouds. Oh, it might be the rain, whatever. Yeah, right. You're losing your energy. If you're over the age of 30, call them. Could be low T. You want more energy, stamina, that type of thing? Or maybe you're looking down going, this summer I didn't do anything. I'm a moose. I need to shed some pounds. They can help you out with that as well. The all-in-one weight loss program is fantastic. Call my friends at Newmel Medical today, 414-455-4451, 414-455-4451. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Thanks for hanging in there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. The big news out of the NFL today is not about OBJ, but the reuniting of the Carolina Panthers and their former quarterback Cam Newton. The two sides have reached a deal, and he is now heading back to Carolina. With Sam Darnold out for at least 4 more weeks with a fractured scapula in his throwing shoulder, they had some depth issues when it came to quarterback. And, Cam Newton now riding back into the rescue. Yes, that Cam Newton. Same one who was drafted number 1 overall by the Panthers back in 2011. It's hard to believe it was 2011. He seems like he's such a more veteran player. But it's only been 10 years, 11 years technically. How about that? Of course, Cam Newton is all about fashion and not about substance anymore, so he's not going to amount to much, but it's a 1-year deal, $4.5 million, fully guaranteed. So he can earn incentives that's going to pay him quite a bit more, but Cam Newton coming to a deal with the Carolina Panthers. There you go. Who are the coaches? This is a good question. This comes to us from Dave. Dave, by the way, listening to us in Chicago. Who are the coaches that are legitimately on the hot seat this season? Sitting at the halfway point. That's a great question. I got to think about that. I
can rattle 2 easy ones.
Yeah, well, I think the 2 easy ones are Matt Nagy and Zimmer. And
Joe Judge.
Joe Judge would be another one. Boy, that's a great question. I don't eliminate the NFC West. Kingsbury's fantastic. McVay's good. Pete Carroll's not going anywhere. Shanahan's not going anywhere. Sean Payton's secure. I'm trying to think. Matt Nagy and Zimmer are the first two guys that come to mind. Both of these teams have been underperforming for years. And Minnesota was on the cusp. They made the deal when Zimmer wanted Kirk Cousins. They paid him all that guaranteed money. He survived that contract. They've signed another one, and they're sitting at 3-5. And while he's not distinctly the problem, the defense has been more of the issue, and that's Zimmer's forte. So, yeah, I'd probably say that, but that's a great question. Those are the two that come to mind, like right away. But, man, that's a good question. Brian Flores, no, I don't think he's, Saleh, no, he's too new.
I would say Urban Meyer, but man, it looks like his players are still obviously competing for
Yeah,
the Bills this weekend.
That's a whole weird deal. Because if you believed all the rumors, when he ended up taking off and split on his team after they ended up losing to Cincinnati, and then he went to Columbus, and that's when the controversy broke out. Guys were ripping him, and apparently he had, quote, lost the locker room. Now they look rejuvenated. Now winning cures a lot of that, but I don't think it's a matter of Urban Meyer being fired. I think it's a matter of whether or not Urban Meyer wants to stay. So to say he's on the hot seat, I think might be a little erroneous. Vic Fangio, probably the only guy out of the AFC West that I can see. I mean, you can't, what's going on in Vegas, they're going to find a new head coach, but what's going on in Vegas is, John Gruden's already gone. So that's the only thing, like you mentioned, Joe Judge with the New York Giants. That would be it. And you know that Riverboat Ron Rivera is not going anywhere, you would assume, in Washington, albeit Daniel Snyder's a nut, but really the only stabilizing factor in that organization right now is probably Ron Rivera, with all the investigation and such that's been going on via the NFL. So they're stable. Arthur Smith with Atlanta. Atlanta's still just a terrible football team.
But they just hired him,
They just brought him in. Yeah, they're trying to give him time to turn it around, but he hasn't done anything. And I didn't like that hire when they made it. That's about it. Matt Rule, he's not going anywhere. They really like him and think that he can do the job in turning Carolina around. So that's it. I think everybody else is pretty safe. I don't see anything else, going awry. Matt says, what about Frank Reich? No, Indianapolis they're kind of in flux right now. I mean, unless their owner's stuck at a stoplight again with a bunch of Oxycontin in his car. No, Frank Reich, I think, is safe, at least for another year. So that's about it when it comes to coaches that are on the hot seat in the NFL. That's it. This one's ESPN Steve said, if the Lions go 0 for 17, is he safe? I think so. Dan Campbell, I think, is safe. Here's the thing. The Lions early on looked competitive, like they just needed a win. They just needed to get off the schneid. And they were right there. They just didn't know how to win. And Jared Goff certainly doesn't help his case for, put it this way. In LA, they are dancing in the streets. They know they made the right decision because Jared Goff hasn't done anything to really make anybody become some kind of a believer that he is the one that led them to a Super Bowl some years ago. If anything, he has been the Achilles heel of that team. So, yeah, I'm the fact that Matthew Stafford wanted to go and they made the deal and they got what they could for him, okay. But I don't think Dan Campbell's the guy that's suddenly turning around Jared Goff's career to make him some kind of an up-and-coming Hall of Fame possible quarterback, because that ain't happening. But yeah, it's a great question. Boy, what a good good question. I can't believe we're in of the season. Doesn't it seem like it just started? We're in week 10. I don't think the Lions are going to get a win this weekend either, by the way. They got to head off into Pittsburgh. They got the Steelers coming up. I don't think the Lions are going to get a win unless they get some kind of a flukish win. But I don't think the Lions are destined for a win. Maybe if they founder in Cleveland, maybe the following week when they go to Cleveland, they have the shot at getting a win. Maybe then. Or the week after, week 12, they play the Bears. And the Bears have to go to the Motor City. So maybe at that point they get a win. Otherwise, where do the Bears where do the Lions get a win? They've got the Vikings that follow the week after in week 13. Week 14, they're on the road in Denver. Week 15, the Lions, oh my God, the Arizona Cardinals come into the Motor City. There's no way they're getting a win there. Maybe week 16, they're on the road. They take on the Falcons. They play the Falcons in week 16. The Seahawks maybe on the road, though, in week 17 up in Seattle. And then the final week of the season, they get the Packers at home. They're not going to win that game unless the Packers sit everybody. So, yeah, it's not looking good for the Lions. They've got a couple of opportunities, and then that's it. That's it. Maybe a 1 or 2 win season. That's all they're going to garner this year. So if you're a Lions fan, for lack of a better term, my sympathies. Not happening anytime soon. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. So I know that in this particular country, we are, efforting, or they have been efforting for the vaccine. And we just came through the whole, craziness with Aaron Rodgers and such. And there have been incentives, financial incentives and such. There is a club in Austria offering sex 30 minutes, a voucher to customers for free if you get your COVID-19 vaccination. Ben, here you go.
It's a long time.
Yeah, the Sex Star Sauna Club began the promotion this past week and will continue to administer vaccines one evening a week for the rest of November, according to the Daily Beast.
That is not what I expected to come out to lead this segment.
Yeah. No, it's just a friend of mine sent this to me and said, hey, are we heading to Austria? I thought he meant to go skiing, and then I opened up the text, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Vaccinations happening Monday night from 4 to 10. There's apparently quite the line. The unorthodox vaccine program comes as COVID-19 cases are spiking in Austria, just under 65% of the population fully vaccinated, one of the lowest rates in Western Europe. Next month, Austrians will be required to show proof of 2 shots to enter restaurants, theaters, hair salons, all that kind of stuff. So the club director said, you know what? We're going to give you a 30-minute voucher with our girls. Go pick one if indeed you come in and show that you've gotten the vaccine. So is this where you're like, you know what? I'm in. I'll do this. And by the way, the vaccine, correct me if I'm wrong, I just read this, up to the 14 years old or older, if accompanied by an adult. Can you imagine? Come on, son. We're going to head down to the old vaccination joint, get our booster shots, and going, hey, here you go. Here's your reward. Can you imagine being 14? First year of high school, you're sitting there just giddy, Mr. Kenny, why are you so joyous today? I went and got my booster shot.
Oh, don't bring me into this.
Oh, I tell you what, I'd be getting the vaccine, my chickenpox shot. I'd be getting a tetanus shot. I'd be like, booster the hell out of me. You know how like when you go into a bar and somebody buys you a drink and you already have one, but they put a chip in front of you? And that's the way it would be. I'd be there at the booster bar. Stack them up. Give me the chips. I'm going back. I want my voucher. I'm going, but not that I think Kristen would be happy about that. Who knows? Maybe she'd take a voucher too. But yeah, there you go. Go to Austria, get your vaccination, and you get yourself some free bow alongside it for 30 minutes. Really, 30 minutes, that's quite the session. Some of you will want to double down, maybe take an hour, but the free 30 minutes, there you go. Some of you may not even need it. You may need the first 3 minutes. After that, it's just it's therapy. It's just talking, having a cocktail. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. Yeah.
I'm thinking about snap count distribution for the Badgers on Saturday,
right?
And that's a little off base.
Well, I was coming back from break. My phone buzzed. A buddy of mine, he's on his way to work. He works second shift. He just took a new job. And he said, hey, when I have vacation time, because he just took a new job and in his new position, he negotiated. He said, yeah, he said he had a couple of vacations planned. They're like, well, fine, take whatever time you need. We don't want to stand in the way of that. So he said, hey, you want to go to Austria? And I thought when he said Austria, I'm thinking skiing. And I'm like, he knows I don't ski. I got bad ankles. Hell, I fell down the stairs last night. And I opened it up and bam, that hit you in the face.
You ever been to Austria?
I've never been. Never been to Austria.
I'm a big Sound of Music guy. So I went and saw that whole thing. Yeah, it's great.
You saw the Sound of Music there, or you saw where it was filmed?
Where it was filmed.
Okay.
No, that was like the movie of my childhood.
Okay. I can see that. Well, now just picture the Von Trapp family all getting vaccinations.
I'm not.
I'm not. Yeah. The hills are alive, all right. Yes, they are.
God.
Can you imagine all the Von Trapp kids, 14 and older, now walking hand in hand down the street? Where are you going? We got a family thing to attend. We're getting our vaccination. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You'll never look at that movie the same again. That's for damn sure.
Every time they pee, you want it to look clear.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Maybe they test for that too at the door. Brett says, well, it sure as hell beats the $100 state, $100 the state gave some people. Take that over to, what is it, Target or Walmart, where they did those cards and you can walk in there and they got that price match. Go to Walmart. Hey, can you match this? I got a voucher from Austria. I had to come back early. Yeah, her. Okay. Oh, no. Cashier. Okay. Can you price match that? Nah. Let's step away. We'll try to put the More of the Bill Michaels Show after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held a light workout outdoors as they installed the game plan against the Seahawks. David Bakhtiari was taken off the PUP and is back on the 53-man roster. We watched him at work blocking and testing that knee, recovering from a torn ACL. Elton Jenkins was asked, will he move from left tackle back to left guard or maybe take over at center?
It's still a question that we trying to figure out. So, just wait until Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whichever day, we make that decision and we'll get it done.
Matt LaFleur says he's planning on getting Aaron Rodgers back from his COVID quarantine on Saturday and having him start Sunday against Seattle.
I do think it's a good opportunity for Jordan to continue to get those reps that he wouldn't necessarily get. And then Aaron was fully involved and quite interactive with us in the meetings.
And Devontae Adams was asked, how did Jordan Love hold up at quarterback in his first NFL start against the Chiefs?
I feel like he handled it really well. I'm sure he wishes he would have played a little bit better, but it's his first opportunity in the game. I don't know how he measures up to the Brett Favres and Aaron Rodgers of the world as far as their very first appearance in a game. Trying him as a young quarterback, and I liked his poise in the huddle is really what I was most impressed with. I like to think I grew as a player as I got more experience, and same with Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino and whoever else was in there at quarterback. It's a tough position. So I'm happy with what he did, though.
In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Glad to have you back. Hey, don't forget about a great product that I've been telling you about. Well, products for that matter. If you own a company, industrial, whatever it happens to be, and you're looking for janitorial products of all kinds, glass cleaners, cabinet cleaners, contact cleaners, surface cleaners, or maybe just some stuff around the house, like I mentioned before, the product called Whiplash, which is terrific for motorcycles, front ends of vehicles and such. Go to Wabam, getwabam.com, WABAM, getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com from right here in the state of Wisconsin. Go to getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. By the way, I had mentioned this a little bit earlier. It's Happy Veterans Day. And I say happy because hopefully we're talking about all of our veterans that are listening, family members and such. And we remember those Memorial Day for those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, but also our furry friends and those who handled them. Thank you to all the servicemen and women out there and service dogs. Service dogs as well. Thanks to my buddy Ben over there, Barking Up Hickory, the dog daycare service. That's where Elmo and Mickey went for years and years and years. Posted a really cool picture of from years gone by, but of a bunch of Army vets and their dogs. And absolutely, thank you for the service to the dogs as well. Throw them an extra treat today. Throw them an extra treat. Coming up after the top of the hour, fantasy football. The Charch is not going to be here today. Charch has not been feeling good, but we got his counterpart, his confidant, be joining us coming up here a little bit. So we'll have him. Good stuff. James writes in the email inbox. He says, first of all, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans, and you're right, their family members as well. Odell Beckham Jr. may be waiting just a couple of weeks, allowing whatever injuries he has to heal up and waiting to see what team is truly going to emerge as the front runner. Therefore, he can hitch his wagon to that one. He says it would be smart for him because then he could come into a terrific situation, win some games. See, I understand that. Basically, what you're trying to tell me is he's going to hedge his bets and hook his wagon to whatever team happens to be, leading things. But let's be honest. He needs catches. He needs playing time. Because you know what he can do. But if it was truly, if there was an offer out there right now was just blowing him away, he'd be on that team. What he's doing right now is we'll take a little time, see if I can jack up my offers a little bit, and see if somebody gets desperate and the bidding war goes on. And it's not look, if you're about the money, it's not a bad strategy. I get it. Okay. Who's to say you and I wouldn't do the same thing? But if it's about, kind of bolstering your position, so to speak, you get in and get now. You get up to speed. You get caught up. You do your thing. You get with your quarterback. You get with your team. It's, people say, well, he's going to be a distraction. No, he's not. He's going to be a guy that's going to be standing on the sideline. He'll get a little bit of camera time, and that's it. Right now, what you're concerned about come in and show that you're a teammate. Come in and get all the positivity. What is it going to be like when, next week, let's say the Packers, who the Packers have next week? They have the Vikings. So they're going to be on at noon. And then the broadcast team is going to come in like they do the night before. And they're going to talk to Aaron Rodgers. They're going to say, hey, tell us about the week off and the whole thing. And then they're going to say, so you get a new weapon in Odell Beckham Jr. And Aaron, what would it mean for Aaron to say he came in early, he got a hold of me, we started sitting down doing some Zoom stuff, we started going over game plans. Him and I and Devontae, we really started talking about. Can you imagine how far that goes into whether it's the Packers or any other team for that matter, eventually saying, you know what, this guy is not the idiot he's being proclaimed to be by, say, Baker Mayfield as this problematic guy, or the reason they wanted to get him out of New York after he started proposing to kicking nets. This is a guy that's a team guy. Okay, put him in a good situation, put him around strong people. This is the guy he is. Every piece of positive PR you can possibly get, you get. Especially, but again, if you're all about the money, then you stay out. So you can talk about hedging your bets, but no. To me, if you really want to come in, you want to get paid, you want to win, you do it now. You get in there. Whether you're going to play this weekend or not, you get in there. Hands down, right here, right now. You start working. I think you and I would do the same thing. Doesn't matter what walk of life we're in. If I've got an agent and the agent's saying, hey, Bill, let's wait a couple weeks. We're going to get our offers, and I'm sitting on millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I know what I'm going to get anyway. I'd say, what? Why? For an extra 1.2? For an extra 500,000? You know, I mean, this is now my career, and I want to win. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Give us a shout. Jimmy Mack, real quick. Jimmy Mack says, what do you think the return of Aaron Rodgers is going to mean? How rusty will he be? Well, let's go back to your first question. What it's going to mean? It's going to mean the Packers are going to have a much better chance of winning the ballgame against Seattle. And as far as rust goes, he wasn't gone 2 weeks. He's been gone about, 10 days? Tested positive, a week ago, Tuesday? So time runs out. He's eligible to come back with the team on Saturday and test negative, and then he should be ready for the game. I mean, the only concern I have is not rust when it comes to his ability to throw the football. It's just if he was showing, which we believe he was, showing the signs of COVID, and for anybody that's had it, I had a very mild case of it, and it does fatigue you. So, but I don't have Doc McKenzie and a whole training staff working on me, getting me healthy. I don't have that level of care in my repertoire, in my quiver right now to say, hey, I came back, I was only down a few days, and I'm ready to go. I mean, it took a little bit more out of you and I, if you had it, than it would be for Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be back. He's going to be fine. I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to be any different at all. Maybe the first couple throws, if you're Matt LaFleur and you're smart, you give him a couple of quick outs. You get him back in rhythm, especially for any team that's going to pin their ears back and come after him to say, hey, what you got going on? How good are you going to look? By the way, Ian Rappaport saying, when asked specifically, where are we on the OBJ watch? He said, I thought he would sign yesterday. And now that he hasn't, he should wait until Monday. I think he's looking for a home for the next 2 to 3 years. Well, that's not going to happen in Green Bay. Just another reason to say he's not coming. Fantasy football questions. Bring them right now. 877-867-1670. Phone lines are wide open. 877-867-1670. Bring your questions. We've got fantasy football coming up next. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michael Show after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin's leading rusher is done for the season. Running back Ches Malusi suffered a knee injury against Rutgers and will miss the rest of the year. That according to Coach Paul Christ.
That obviously saddens really all of us. And, there's nothing more important, and why guys do this is to be able to play in these games. And I thought he gave a ton to this team, certainly in production, but a lot of other areas. So, sad about that. He's competitive and he'll come back on it.
Chris, to keep practice, he'll be cleared injury. More opportunity. Freshman Braylon, sophomore Julius Davis, and junior Brady Schiffer. Wisconsin going to host Northwestern on Saturday. Badgers have won 5 in a row, sit tie for first in the Big Ten. 3 other teams. Turning the Packers, they're back in the practice field this afternoon as they get ready for a visit from Seattle. Much of the news around the team is off the field, though. That's where they're reportedly among a number of teams still in pursuit of free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. Devontae Adams said he's spoken with Beckham Jr. in recent days. Also a report that quarterback Aaron Rodgers has reached out to recruit him. Gave me the Packers and the Seahawks on Sunday at Lambeau Field.
Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
As a proud sponsor of the WIAA, care about your community like they believe the communities that support their athletes are the true champions. Visit ruralmutual.com/WIAA to learn how they support high school athletics.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs were 112-100 winners over the Knicks last night in New York. Pat Connaughton led the way with 23 points. Going to be in Boston tomorrow. And the Badgers going to be hosting UW Green Bay tomorrow night at the Kohl Center. They will also honor former coach Bo Ryan at halftime. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil-Prince.
Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show on a breezy, windy, black kind of day. But it is Veterans Day. And we want to say thank you to all of our veterans that are out there. So we appreciate your service, appreciate what you do, the family members as well for everything that you go through. So we wanted to say thanks to all the veterans that are out there. By the way, it popped up in my memories today. Today, 3 years ago, was a black day as well. As a matter of fact, they were just pulling the tarp off at Lambeau Field on a rainy, nasty day. I got some pictures from the press box. So just thought I'd bring it up for whatever reason. Maybe for you future meteorologists out there, you start keeping track of days. Let's do this. Let's get into some fantasy football, shall we? Paul Charchian not with us today, and hopefully he's back again next week soon, but feeling under the weather, a little COVID. So now we've got our buddy Brian Johnson from Fantasy Football Weekly joining us. Brian, how you doing?
Doing good, guys. Thanks for having me. Not under the best circumstances, of course, with Charch having COVID, but talked to him earlier today. He's feeling better, so I'm sure you'll be hearing from him next week.
Yeah, hopefully he's back soon. But in the meantime, let's get to it because Aaron Rodgers is coming back. But what is the fantasy play here when it comes to a guy that's had COVID? It takes a little bit out of you. There's a question about rust. Are you playing Aaron Rodgers over everybody else?
Yeah, I don't think you can sit Rodgers if he makes his comeback. Maybe only if I had Lamar Jackson or like Tom Brady are the two guys come to mind. Maybe Josh Allen, 3 quarterbacks I would bench or start over Rodgers this week. So if Rodgers does in fact make his return, and like you said, it sounds like he would, I think it's all systems go for him. And of course, that puts Devontae Adams easily in your wide receiver 1 spot. Seattle has allowed a 100-yard receiver in each of the last 4 games. So that passing attack should be back to normal pretty much.
What does Russell Wilson coming back mean? Would you play him with that bad finger?
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I almost kind of want to see how he looks. He's been practicing a lot against invisible football players, as we've seen on the primetime games.
Mm-hmm, right.
The Packers are not invisible. And Jair Alexander, you guys might know better than I, supposedly making his return as well. That dims his hopes a little bit. So Russell Wilson's certainly not in a smash spot. I wouldn't just put him in my like a set it and forget it type guy in my lineup. I would explore other options, but his mobility always makes him intriguing. But if I'm going to give him a fantasy football weekly style player grade, it's just a C for me this week for Russell.
If you got a fantasy football question, bring it right now. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. I got one here from the Chosen Rose who says, I got to start 2. Emmanuel Sanders, Christian Kirk, Hunter Renfrow, or Jerry Jeudy.
Start 2, huh? I'm sitting Manny Sanders after he put up that goose egg recently. He's not too trustworthy for me. Christian Kirk, I think is a definite start. If DeAndre Hopkins misses this week as well, that's still to be determined. And so it was Jeudy. I'm sorry, you said, and then who else?
Oh, boy, I just glossed over it. Hang on a second here. Need to start 2. Emmanuel Sanders, Christian Kirk, Hunter Renfrow, or Jerry Jeudy.
I'm definitely starting Hunter Renfrow. Now, with the unfortunate Henry Ruggs incident, Renfrow is pretty much the top wide receiver for the Raiders right now. But again, if it comes down to Sunday, if Hopkins is out, I'm going Kirk. But if Hopkins is in, I would play Jeudy. So Renfrow for sure. Hopkins out, go Kirk. But if Hopkins is in, I would go Renfrow, Jeudy.
This one is from our buddy Brett, who says, need a quarterback here. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, or Derek Carr.
They're all kind of lumped together for me, but I'm going to go with Carson Wentz, who's just been tearing it up lately, and he's got the Jaguars at home. I know the Jaguars just stifled Josh Allen, but that was in Florida. This game will be in the Dome, and Wentz has just been on fire. And Michael Pittman, his number 1 receiver, is a star in the making. He's already becoming a star right before our very eyes. So I think I would go with Wentz out of those 3.
Got one here. This is from Anthony, who says Josh Allen or Teddy Bridgewater this week.
I think he's a little too worried about last week's performance from Josh Allen against the Jaguars. I'm going to take Josh Allen, even though they're still on the road. They're at the Jets. And yes, the rushing upside for Allen is immense every week. And it's a decent matchup for Bridgewater at home. He does have Jerry Jeudy back, but I think you're getting a little too cute if you're going to bench Josh Allen for Teddy Bridgewater. So I'd stick with Allen.
Mark wants to know, he says, I have 2 quarterbacks, need one, Matthew Stafford or Ben Roethlisberger. Both of those guys have pretty easy schedules this weekend. I think Roethlisberger's playing the Lions, I mentioned earlier, and the Rams are on Monday night, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Rams at San Fran, and Ben, like you said, at home against Detroit. A great matchup. I worry that game gets a little out of hand in a good way for the Steelers, but that would be a negative game script for Roethlisberger. The Lions coming off a loss last week, I think they're going to play pretty inspired against a divisional rival. Divisional games can be tough, but that 49ers defense is a shell of its former self. So I would lean Stafford there, but both good options for sure.
Got a fantasy question? Get it to us, 877-867-1670. In the meantime, Jamie says Fournette, Jacobs, or Henderson in a half-point PPR.
He needs to play one?
Needs just one, yeah. Fournette, Jacobs, or Henderson.
Ooh, I got to go with Leonard Fournette. He's I don't want to say overachieving, but he's doing way better than I expected him to this year. Josh Jacobs doesn't get a ton of the passing game work, so if it's a PPR league, I'm gonna go Fournette out of those 3.
Christopher listening to us in Las Vegas says Tua or Wentz.
Oh, Tua's no guarantee to play tonight. He still has that fractured finger supposedly, and Thursday night football usually kind of sloppy. And I love the matchup for Wentz. I just said I might play, Carson Wentz over a guy like Patrick Mahomes. So I would go Wentz over Tua.
Then you got this one is from Jesse, who says Tyreek Hill or Devontae Adams.
Wow, that sounds like he's playing in a guillotine league. If you're picking between those two guys, boy, I would have to go Adams. The Chiefs have looked pretty bad on offense, and it's not all Tyreek Hill's fault, but the whole unit has struggled. And Adams, The only way I would sit Adams in favor of Hill is if Rodgers, in fact, does not come back, but that doesn't sound like it's the case. I would stick with Adams for sure.
Chris writes, I've lost both of my tight ends. Is there anybody out there that's on the waiver wire that would be a sleeper I should look at?
If Dan Arnold is available, I would certainly go grab Dan Arnold, not just as a streamer, but as a guy you can hold for the rest of the season and play in most weeks. Since joining the Jaguars a couple months ago, he leads the team in targets, and a great matchup this week against the Colts. Over the last 5 weeks, opposing tight ends are averaging more than 7 catches and 75 yards per game against Indy during that same time frame. They've surrendered 4 touchdowns to tight ends, including a couple scores to guys like Jeff Swaim and Ryan Griffin. So like Dan Arnold, if he's not available, maybe someone has dropped Logan Thomas, who's making his return this week against the Bucs. That's a very solid matchup. Washington probably going to be throwing a ton in that game as they play catch-up, most likely. And I know that Thomas will face the Eagles twice between now and week 17. Now week 17 is now a viable fantasy week. It wasn't in the past, but now it's an 18-week season. And then the Eagles just getting roasted by opposing tight ends. They had they allowed 2 top 5 finishes to 2 Chargers tight ends last week, and neither of them were Jared Cook,
right?
Steven Anderson and Donald Parham. So they've just been leaking production to tight end. So Thomas would be another intriguing tight end name out there if he's available.
I've got this one: Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, or Najee Harris this week.
Man, these got to be guillotine questions,
right?
These are some elite players. Good matchups for Taylor and Najee and Cook. I mean, I'm looking at Charch's ranks, and all 3 of those are in their top 5. So I'm just going to concede to Paul Charch on this one and go with Najee Harris, who he has as his number 1 ranked running back this week at home against the Lions.
Then I've got James Conner or Jamal Williams in a half-point PPR.
Boy, I don't know how you can sit James Conner right now. I believe he leads the league in rushing touchdowns. Carolina, not an ideal matchup, but man, I can't sit James Conner after last week. And I applaud anyone, if there's anyone out there who took, bet on James Conner to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. The odds on that must have been insane preseason, but Conner's on fire. So I would keep rolling with him.
Jake writes, he said, I got a 2-quarterback league. Stafford's already locked in. Can't believe I'm going to ask this question, but he says, Mike White or Russell Wilson?
Oof, yeah, that's not too crazy of a question. Well, I don't like the matchup for Mike White, though. Buffalo is a very tough defense. The Jets are at home. Wilson is on the road in Green Bay, as you guys certainly know. I think I would go with Wilson. Mike White's about just as mobile as Wilson, but I would lean Wilson just based on he has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I like the weapons more for Russ.
There you go. And I got one more here, and getting back to the running back question from a little bit earlier. I've got he doesn't have the running back question. Let's see here. He has got AJ Green or MVS, and he's got a 1-point PPR.
Whew, that's a tough one. I would lean Green. We'll get back to the DeAndre Hopkins status. If he's ruled out, I would go Green because he's the likely number 1 wide receiver. But if Hopkins does make his return, I might lean MVS. It's a pretty good matchup for wide receivers for the Packers. The Seahawks have allowed 4 straight 100-yard wide receiver performances. Now that's likely going to be Devontae Adams, but again, it's definitely not the Legion of Boom anymore, and that's Seattle secondary. So I would throw a dart at MVS unless DeAndre Hopkins is ruled out. In that case, I'd go AJ Green.
Brian, anybody else that if they're out there, you might want to pick up? Any other hints?
Tyler Johnson, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Chris Godwin just popped up on the injury report with a foot issue. Antonio Brown, no guarantee to come back. They're up in Washington, who've just been getting slaughtered by opposing wide receivers. Mike Evans is certainly going to command double coverage in that game. And Tyler Johnson, Golden Gopher, right here from Minnesota, has looked great and given the opportunity. And if Brown and Godwin are ruled out, Gronk, no guarantee to come back. Tyler could be looking at 8, 9, 10 targets in a plus matchup. So I like Tyler Johnson this week.
Excellent. Brian, appreciate it very much. And if for whatever reason Charch is not back, we will talk to you again soon, okay?
Thanks for having me, and I'd be happy to come back anytime, guys.
Appreciate it. Good stuff. Thanks, Brian. Talk to you soon. There you go, Brian Johnson. And he has got Fantasy Football Weekly filling in for the Charch down with COVID. Hopefully he's feeling better. That's good to know. I did get an email from Charch that said he is feeling a little bit better, but it was a little rough there for a while. So we wish him but the best speed. That being said, going to go quick break. Got a lot to get to. And David Stearns, your general manager for the Milwaukee Brewers, he's open to pitching? What? Yeah. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gianadella from Pella and the title tones. Game day train, take 47.
I'm leaving. On a game day train to Tattletown.
What did Gina get us into?
Come on, Leroy, Wayne, Tausch, we can do this.
I don't know, Gina. I'm just not feeling it.
Same here, Leroy.
Yeah, what's our motivation?
Well, with chilly winds sneaking in, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can replace those leaky, stuck, and squeaky windows and doors, and we install year-round.
I was thinking more like matching crushed velvet jackets.
Ooh, in green and gold? Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Listen, how about if we offered Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin fans 12 months, no payments, and no interest?
Maybe.
Plus 20% off installation.
Yeah, that's more like
Now we're cooking with gas.
But only through November 30th. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Woo, woo. Ooh, that was good. Good, woo, woo.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hard to find streets of stone. Modern warriors, satellite horses of chrome. Taste the wild, lick the wind. Like something never saw before, their jaws dropping to the floor.
So the Milwaukee Brewers, the general manager meetings are going on, and David Stearns, obviously a very hot commodity. He is signed with the Brewers through the 2022 season. After that, we don't know. The Brewers have a longstanding policy on not talking about their front office personnel and their contracts. We already know that Matt Arnold has taken his name out of the running for the general manager's job with the New York Mets. The Mets are thinking that they could possibly just promote somebody within and hold the position until they get a chance next year to possibly interview Stearns, because the Brewers have denied requests numerous times to interview Stearns for their general manager / president of operations job. So, man, the Mets are pressing hard. And we know there's an affinity there because David Stearns, he grew up a Mets fan and has talked about the possibility of running the Mets eventually. But for right now, he is in the Brewers camp. Now, here's the thought, because you've got Avisail Garcia that opted out. He declined his half of the mutual option for 2022, making him a free agent, coming off a career high of home runs of 29. So the Brewers, they have some holes. They've got a power gap in the outfield. They need to get Christian Yelich back. Tyrone Taylor appears to be a guy that's ready to emerge. You got 3/4 of your infield pretty much set, but you don't have power at that first base position. Your offensive consistency has been lackluster, to say the very least, in the bottom third of the league. So with the names of Burns and Woodruff and Peralta and Hauser and Lauer, hell, there's even Aaron Ashby, Ethan Small, having this depth, this plethora of pitching. Apparently the Brewers are getting more than a few phone calls. And one of the big things is, as David Stearns stated, is they want to stay in the run prevention business. Okay. That's where the wins come from for the majority, but they know they need offense. So the report is coming out of Carlsbad, California, that David Stearns not only is on the media list to talk to, and in the New York media list specifically because of his affinity for the New York Mets, but also in the realm of general managers trying to make a deal to bolster their own pitching staff, get some of the arms that the Brewers have, and possibly trade a bat in return. So, by the way, Ethan Small pitching this because he had that finger injury. Ethan Small is pitching in the Dominican League right now, and doing rather well and getting his innings in, so to speak. But there is apparently a lot of interest at these general managers meetings right now, not in David Stearns, the GM or the president, but in what the Brewers actually have and what they have stockpiled in arm talent. So while we may not hear about anything happening right now, I would assume that after we find out if there will or will not be a lockout, we'll find out more probably in December into January what's going to happen with this Brewers team and who will and will not be with it when it comes to trades, because I got to assume that the Brewers are going to make a deal. They're going to try to bring in and specifically a first baseman. Now, remember, the A's are considering kind of tearing it all down. So when you talk about the Oakland A's specifically, could the A's be, as they want to bolster their arms and get young, controllable talent, could the Oakland A's possibly be a team that could become a suitor for the Milwaukee Brewers? Could that end up happening? The A's with Matt Olson over there at first base. And by the way, he's still got some options. I think he's like 27 years old, And there's been some talk that that they would be willing to part with him. Now, he's a guy that can give you the pop. He's a guy that gives you consistency. He's an everyday first baseman. And they're looking for young, controllable arms. So you could possibly give them a guy like Ethan Small and be able to move on with another or two minor leaguers, somebody that's ready to just on the cusp of pitching well and pitching in the bigs. Would they consider that? So a lot of talk right now about what holes the Brewers have, and they don't want to deplete their depth too much, but it's certainly something to think about. So apparently there is some discussions right now going on down at the general managers meetings. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, Scotty's Malone says OBJ, the same as JJ, they all talk about wanting to win, but they want the dollars up front. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, JJ got the dollars, but he also went to a team that's winning. They have the best record in the National Football League. We can't say that. Now, the Packers couldn't offer him what he got. He got the best of both worlds. He got out of Houston, he got the money, and he's with a winning team, right? You can't fault him for that. At first, we looked at it and went, but we knew that was a team with Kyler Murray. They were getting kind of ready to fly. I think they're a year ahead of schedule, to be honest with you. But you can't quibble with it. I mean, Arizona's the only team right now with 8 wins. They're the only one with 8 wins. The winningest football team in the National Football League. He went there, and he ended up getting hurt, so he's not even playing for him anymore. But he got the money, and he got the wins. So I can't. Now, if Odell Beckham Jr., say he goes to the Saints because the Saints can give him a long-term deal or something like that. Well, yeah, but who you got throwing you the ball? Right? Saints aren't going anywhere. It's easy. In a quarterback-driven league, you ride the horse of the quarterback. Saints may be a good football team. Defensively, they're solid. They've got a good run game, but they don't have a quarterback that's good. In a 2-minute drill, when you're down by a touchdown, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't have any faith in Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian. Neither one. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do it. Give us a shout. Jack says, I think that, what does he say here? I think that Matt Arnold would have made a great general manager for the New York Mets. Oh, he's a Mets fan. But we can't wait to see David Stearns in the blue and orange. I think he's going to leave after the 2022 season. Thoughts? I don't know. I don't know what his they don't. Go ahead, Ben.
The Mets couldn't get a high school janitor to take their GM job.
Not right now. That's why there's talk about them signing within and basically hiring somebody as, quote, a placeholder until next offseason. And they believe, because everybody believes that they are targeting David Stearns to kind of come in and reignite and reorganize the organization. That he's going to be the guy, kind of like a young Theo Epstein. He's got those chops. He's going to come in, organize everything, and set it all up all over again. And the Brewers and Mark Antanasio have been emphatic. No, you're not even going to talk to the guy. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, but if his contract indeed, and if Mark doesn't sign him to an extension this upcoming season, which you would figure he probably would, but if he doesn't sign him to a contract extension and at the end of the 2022 season, David Stearns is a free agent, then it's pretty much the handwriting would be on the wall for him to go back to his boyhood team in the New York Mets. So we'll see if they don't talk about it. They don't usually talk about long-term signings and such, or, when contracts are expiring, and they don't talk about negotiations unless they bring it up. We don't know about it. 877-867-1670. Say howdy. Give us a shout. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. We have got a couple more segments. Stay tuned. Don't forget, coming up tonight, we are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. The Bill Michaels Huddle is back tonight, 6 to 8. Going to be at Paulie's Pub and Eatery. We are going to be in West Allis, Wisconsin, right across the street on Greenfield, as a matter of fact, right across the street from the Wisconsin State Fair Park. So come on by. Say hi tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
On the Wisconsin Sports
Crisp
Zone
red
Radio
apples with
Network.
fresh strawberries. Cider Boy Strawberry Magic Hard Cider.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Big news of the day out of the NFL. No, OBJ did not sign with anybody. As a matter of fact, it looks and appears as if he's going to take his own sweet time. Reports now coming out that he is going to wait until after Sunday to sign with someone. So I would have bet a little bit of money that he would have been signed by later tonight, but it appears that is cooled. He's probably either 1, weighing his options, 2, waiting for a better deal, or 3, waiting to see who does or doesn't get a win this week, or maybe he just wants to go out and throw a little money around and take a week off. But regardless, OBJ, at least according to NFL sources, saying he is going to take a little more time. I just think that means I'm waiting for more money. Just my thought. The other big news was that Cam Newton, the headline is Superman is back. And I'm starting to look around like, who's Superman? And they're claiming Cam Newton, still being Superman, is back. And he's going back to Carolina. He is signed with the Carolina Panthers and has a $4 million base contract, an incentive-laden deal to guide the Panthers. It's, the old adage is you can't go home again. Well, he's going home again. But is it going to be the same? I think the words hell nah come to mind. Nah, ain't going to happen. Another piece of quarterback news that I found interesting. Do you know, Ben, now you follow the college side of things pretty close, but do you know Arch Manning? We all know the Manning name. You know Arch Manning, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's all over the place.
Apparently, Isidore Newman is his high school, and
that's where Odell went to high school, if I'm not mistaken.
That I didn't
in
know.
New Orleans.
That I didn't
and
know.
Both of the Mannings.
Okay.
Eli and Peyton.
Eli and Peyton both went there. He is shattering their records. And they are saying that he is at this young age, because he has not chosen where he's going to go to college yet. They're saying at this young age that Eli and Peyton aren't anywhere near as good as Arch Manning. Now, Arch Manning is the son of Cooper Manning, by the way, who is the eldest of the 3 boys. And Cooper Manning, who did not become a football phenom like his brothers did, at least is going to be able to live vicariously through his son. But Arch Manning, named after the patriarch of the family, Archie Manning, apparently is just lighting it up. The next generation of Manning quarterbacks, 17-year-old junior, with offers to play everywhere. Everywhere.
You'll never guess who is presumptive to be a favorite for him. You'll never guess.
Well, I know Georgia's after him big time.
Georgia, Bama, Clemson, Ole Miss, Texas.
Georgia, Bama, Clemson, Ole Miss, Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have. It's more of like their name's going to be in on a lot of big players, and they'll lose out on them because they can't win a big game.
I can't believe that. My assumption is they Ohio State's come knocking, Michigan's come knocking. You got to think that at some point or another, Paul Chris has maybe given him a call and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you up here." My assumption is he'd want to play in the SEC as well, because that's what both Peyton and Eli did. But maybe not. Maybe he wants to get out of that mold. The family says they give him a lot of credit for, quote, being his own man. So maybe he does. Maybe he goes to the Big Ten. Maybe he goes to the Pac-12 or something. But I got to think he is getting a lot of advice on his NFL future from his uncles as to what to look for in a team that he's going to choose. What kind of a head coach, what kind of offensive coordinator, all of that. You got to figure that plays into it, because you don't want to go to a school where it's all ride and decide, because that's not what they're playing in the NFL. You got to go to a school where you're going to be more of a traditional pocket passer, a shotgun guy, an under center guy, play action guy, but not necessarily running the football. So that would kind of eliminate Ryan Day at Ohio State. That would be more traditional at Wisconsin. They use a lot of that in the Harbaugh offense over in Michigan. So I got to think that there's only probably one or two, maybe three Big Ten schools if he would lean in that direction that he'd consider.
Hey, you think Paul Chris goes to the Manning living room and makes a pitch?
If Paul Chris doesn't, he's an idiot. Seriously, you got to make a phone call. Maybe not to the living room, but you got to make a phone call. You got to send a letter. You got to reach out. You can't just bail and say, well, we're at Wisconsin. We're going to get the 2 and 3 star players and coach them up. You got to at least walk in and put your best foot forward, and put it this way. If you do it and you don't get him, but he comes out later and says, man, I really like what Wisconsin offered. That was one of my considerations. That means a lot to these recruits, because now they're going to start. The more people you reach out to, the better you are. I was never recruited, but just from guys that were, they spoke highly of certain schools. You look at certain schools differently. You just do. So you got to figure at some point. Let's say they do that national signing, and he's sitting there with 3 hats in front of him, and one of them happens to be Wisconsin. Wisconsin's getting FaceTime. Any publicity is good publicity in that case, even if you don't get it. So I would assume that they have at least put in a phone call. And if they have, maybe that's a question. Maybe say, hey, Paul, maybe Zach Heilprin asks him, hey, Arch Manning getting a lot of publicity in USA Today. Is that a guy you've ever pursued, ever sent a letter to? Have you ever reached out to him at all? You got to think Paul would say, yeah, you know what? We talk to everybody. We, even if he hasn't specifically spoken to him, we reach out. We talk to everybody. It's as Brett puts it, it's all about networking. Get your name in front of as many people as possible. You'd be crazy not to. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Find us. Get a hold of us. This one is from Jacob, who says, no way Cam Newton has any success in Carolina. What do you think? I've said for a while, Cam Newton has become more of a fashion statement than he is a football player. He's more worried about what he's going to wake up and pull out of his closet and sport in front of the cameras going into a locker room than what he's sporting when he walks out of that locker room onto the field. He just, ever since he's walked off that podium in the Super Bowl when they got beat, he's been a mediocre to sub-mediocre quarterback since then. That's it. Yeah, so I don't think he's doing much of anything. Just my thought. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. What else? I got one more here. No, that's stupid. I'm not going to get into that. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. One more segment of the program coming up. Don't forget about our friends over there at Four Seasons Island Resort and Pine Mountain Resort. Pine Mountain Resort. I've been telling you now, it's raining right now, but we're going to start getting cold enough at night that they're going to start making snow. And the ski season's right around the corner. So if you want to do some skiing at a really good resort in the UP, call them, 906-774-2747. Go to pinemountainresort.com. But coming up, they have got plenty to do. Right now, you can call and get a hold of our girl, Barb at pinemountainresort.com, Barb at pinemountainresort.com. If you're going to be a widow because the husbands are heading off. They're going to do the hunting. Coming up on November 19th, they've got the Widow's Wine Dinner. The Widow's Wine Dinner, and they're going to do pairings and tastings and cheeses and meals and food, and you and the girls head on up and go do your thing, unless, of course, you're a hunter. If you're a hunter, and they got cabins up there, by the way, or the condos, you can rent a condo 5 nights. They're going to give you 2 nights for free. Go up for a week, 5 nights, 2 nights for free. Plus the big saltwater indoor pool. You can rest, you can relax. They got Famers, the UP Sports Hall of Fame, inside Famers Bar and Grill, all that kind of good stuff. Or maybe just take the family. Get ready for ski trips. Get ready for the new year. Get ready for the holidays. They got a craft show going on up there on December 4th. A lot of good stuff. Go to pinemountainresort.com. That is pinemountainresort.com. Get our mountainresort.com. All and ask for. Oh, Barb, heard it on the Bill Michaels show. Plus, you asked for the Bill Michaels special. 906-774-2747. 906-774-2747. Call right now. Get a hold of our friends at Pine Mountain Resort. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They don't repair cracked helmets, cracked teeth, or cracked stadium seats. They do repair cracked windshields. Complete Auto Glass, windshield repair and replacement, windshield camera recalibration, and more. An insurance-preferred service provider with free price quotes and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, you'll be happy to know you're dealing with a local, family-owned business who understand their Wisconsin neighbors. Complete Auto Glass, repair and replacement. Visit CompleteAutoGlass.com. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers have practice today and tomorrow to prepare for the Seahawks. Rookie defensive back Eric Stokes took part in team warm-ups yesterday, but then he left the field. Stokes injured his knee during pregame warm-ups in Kansas City and did not play against the Chiefs. Kenny Clark was spotted, but not on the practice field. Clark left the Chiefs game with a sore back. Former Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. said to be interested in 4 teams: the Saints, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and the Packers. And Devontae Adams says he first met Beckham at the Combine, their rookie year, and have kept in touch over the years.
We definitely have entertained the idea, just trying to see where his mind is. And I don't think he knows right now what the deal is. But, yeah, I've been kind of joking throughout the process of him with over in Cleveland and stuff, just kind of let him know he got a nice home over here if he's ready for that and if it could work. But it's a business, so it's a lot that goes into it. It's not as easy as we want him, and he wants to be here, so we'll see what happens.
Seattle is back from their bye. Russell Wilson practiced again a month after surgery on his throwing hand middle finger. Pete Carroll.
He's not out here to do anything but play. He's not coming back just to practice, so we'll see what happens as the week goes on. But give us days to figure that out. But the intention is that if he's okay, he plays.
And what has Matt LaFleur told his players after the NFL handed the team $300,000 in fines and Aaron Rodgers' controversial statements?
Kind of keep your head in the sand and don't look at anything. I constantly have to remind everybody, like in my family, hey, don't read, don't look at anything. And I have to follow the same advice, I guess. You just focus on the task at hand. And because each week is such a challenge, no matter who you're playing, everybody has different circumstances. Everybody in the league is going through adversity.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Always a crazy one, broke into the stadium.
Just scrolling through Facebook and Instagram today, it is awesome to see all of the tributes to friends and family members and such that you have out there that have all served at one point or another, whether they're a veteran in the military, maybe currently serving even, but nevertheless, just a lot of cool pictures, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of great honors today. Don't forget, if you know somebody who is a veteran, just call them up and say thanks. Wave to them, say thanks. Just for what they've done. And their family members, for that matter, because, family has the nail-biting experience of worry. So don't forget about the family as well. Don't forget about those in the Coast Guard. Don't forget about the National Guard. So all of them. So say thank you. We were talking earlier about coaches on the hot seat. Interesting that we brought that up because the NFL Insider over on CBS Sports says time is running out for Kyle Shanahan. How about that? The 49ers this season, not who people thought they would be. And the defense is heading in the wrong direction. It seems like forever since it was 2019 when they had a 13-3 record and went to the Super Bowl. The defense, as I had mentioned, just awful. And Shanahan has been and always will be running the show. He decided not to make stud interior defensive lineman DeForest Buckner the $20 million a year man. And the run game is a shell of what it used to be. The popgun offense isn't scaring anyone anymore. All of the elaborate smoke screens and spy novel levels of offensive intrigue, they say, about which quarterback they were mortgaging their future to move up to get seems a little too cute, especially since Trey Lance has barely played for the sputtering offense. And what seems to be resonating most loudly in the Bay Area right now is that Shanahan's 32-44 career record and the fact that he's 9-15 since the 49ers blew their lead to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And ultimately, as it states, you are what your record is, and it ain't good. And no amount of play calling wizardry can change that overnight. This ain't a post-Super Bowl hangover. This isn't a blip, they say. That's nearly a 25-game sample size since the big collapse against Kansas City. And, well, the 24 games preceding that glorious 2019 season, they weren't special either because he went 10-14. They're saying that more so the Super Bowl run of 13-3 in that 2019 season is a blip on the radar. And this is the real Kyle Shanahan. And out in the Bay Area, they've had it. Sunday's loss to the Cardinals, backup quarterback included, was not professional. And they have allowed 83 points in 3 games since their bye week. And they don't have much to rely on offense. Sunday's effort looked like a team in distress, turning what could have been a reboot to their season into the greatest SOS to date. And it goes on from there. Kyle Shanahan getting a lot of grief. Interesting read. Yes, anytime you get to a Super Bowl, you buy yourself some extra time. Okay? No doubt about it. And it was all the Shanahan tree. It was all, look at all these different guys that are innovative, the Sean McVay and the Kyle Shanahan and the Matt LaFleur and this and that. Well, the guy that everybody held up as the example is starting to falter. Meanwhile, McVay, led by a staunch defense, and they traded for a veteran quarterback who they believe can take them to the next level. They're right back in it. Prior to and since then, that Super Bowl run, San Francisco's never been able to replicate that. Never been able to replicate that. And Garoppolo's not the answer. I don't even know if Trey Lance is the answer. Which is, I think, the reason that San Francisco made a call to say, hey, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers coming back to the Bay Area? Nope, click, bye. So the Packers shot him down. So there you go. Coming up tomorrow on the program, well, tonight, don't forget, 6 to 8, we're going to be on the air. We're going to be over at Paulie's Pub and Eatery, right there on Greenfield, across the street from the State Fair Park. 6 to 8 tonight, and Rob Reichel going to be on with us. Ebo's going to be running things in studio. I'm sure he'll chime in. He's out chasing deer right now. I just saw a video post of his over on Facebook. He's chasing a big buck running alongside his car. I don't know if the buck hit his car or not, but Ebo's tracking that thing down. But he'll be here tonight. So that's coming up tonight, 6 to 8, brought to you by Bud Light. Tomorrow on the show, we got Mike Clemens is going to be here. Also going to hear from the Seattle Seahawks side of things as well. So we'll get their side of life. John Boyle, who covers the Seahawks for Seahawks.com, he's going to be here tomorrow. So we got him coming on, and a plethora. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, we hear about Odell Beckham Jr. Finally putting ink to paper. We'll see if that actually happens or not. Now it seems like it won't. And now, which that news breaking today seems to have turned a lot of people off to OBJ. Had he come out right away and said, it's about winning, I want to sign, and come to Green Bay or anywhere else, I think there's a level of respect there. Now, for him wanting to wait on this, I think there's some teams going, wait a minute. It's back to OBJ being all about OBJ. So somebody's going to pay him, but he, quote, wants to take some time before deciding on the next team. He's weighing offers apparently from the Packers, Seahawks, Saints, and Chiefs. Those are the 4 teams. What the hell do you got to look for? Saints don't have a quarterback. Chiefs don't have a defense. Seahawks, really? For what? You're not catching anybody this year unless it's a long-term deal you're looking for. The only team that gives you a shot at winning is the Packers. Shut up, quit waiting, get into Green Bay, and quit pissing people off. There you go. That's it. Talk to you tonight, 6 to 8. The Bill Michaels Huddle will be back at it then.